Chapter 928. The middle-aged man from the Taiwu Empire was stunned by Long Yu's 9 nether source force. He would not be able to resist for at most a breath's time. The 2 beast cultivators seized the opportunity. The flaming mountain cat beast cultivator blocked the other middle-aged man, while the frenzied demon bull used its most powerful technique and directly charged towards the man who was stunned by Long Yu. There was almost no need for Long Yu to do anything. The frenzied demon bull's brute force was unquestionable. With just one charge, the middle-aged man was directly sent flying. His internal organs were completely shattered, and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. Then, his eyes widened and he gradually stopped breathing. 13th Elder. The other middle-aged man's eyes almost popped out of their sockets when he saw this. Not only was the dead man on good terms with him, but more importantly, everyone had signed a life and death contract when they entered the 9 Nether Black Palace. If you live, I live. If you die, I die. However, the remaining middle-aged man didn't even have the time to react when a wave of the aura of Netherworld divine writing condensed from the surrounding space, and it instantly enveloped him. This was the life and death contract in effect. If one of them died, the other would definitely die. Under the rules of the life and death contract left behind by the Geo Dragon Emperor, a mere martial cultivator at the martial emperor stage had no power to resist at all. This was the first time Long Yu had seen a life and death contract in effect. It turned out that a mass of 9 nether divine characters condensed into a thick fog, enveloped the person, and then completely corroded him to death. When dealing with Tengu and Ghost Butterfly previously, although Long Yu had first crushed Tengu's internal organs, he did not die, so he could not see the effect of the life and death contract. Now, Long Yu finally understood the effect of the life and death contract. Even a late-stage martial emperor powerhouse, under the influence of the life and death contract, could not even withstand half a breath's time and was directly corroded and annihilated. However, there was no time for Long Yu to sigh. Because the 2 people from the Taiwu Empire had been dealt with, there were still 2 beast cultivators left. Long Yu did not think that these 2 guys would let him go in such a situation. In the next moment, before the 2 demon cultivators could react, Long Yu's quintessence energy, the 9 hell deterrence, was unleashed once more. His target was the frenzied demon bull. The frenzied demon bull had just killed an old rival of the Taiwu Empire and was feeling very pleased. However, the sudden 9 nether deterrence stunned it on the spot. It wasn't that he wasn't vigilant, it was just that he didn't expect a mere Emperor Realm brat like Long Yu to dare attack him. You think too much, brat. The half-fighting demon cow was intimidated by Long Yu. However, in an instant its entire body flashed with a golden light, and it recovered from its intimidated state. Its eyes stared at Long Yu, who was not far away, and its face was flushed red. Do you think that I, a dignified demon cow, would be intimidated by your inferior technique? The demonic ox clan originally had a very strong ability to resist attacks and physical strength. Even if they were shocked, their bodies would naturally send out a warning, waking them up from the state of shock. Brat, I wanted to give you a good way to die, but now it seems that there's no need for that. I'm going to grind your bones and scatter your ashes. On the other side, the flaming mountain cat beast cultivator also reacted and rushed straight towards Long Yu. However, Long Yu had already made arrangements in advance. 8 trigrams heaven suppression. Long Yu just raised his hand, and 8 beams of light of different colors directly condensed from the field and blasted towards the flaming mountain cat beast cultivator, instantly binding his whole body. 8 trigrams heaven suppression was a first-grade god chain, the strongest technique among the god chains. Once this technique was used, even the late-stage Emperor Realm flaming mountain cat would be trapped for at least 3 breaths of time. Unless he had some special method that defied the natural order, it would be impossible for him to escape. And 3 breaths of time was enough for Long Yu to deal with the frenzy demon bull. Just as Long Yu activated the 8 trigrams heaven suppression, the frenzied demon bull rushed towards Long Yu, and the frenzied divine runes erupted violently, seemingly wanting to smash Long Yu into pieces. However, of course, Long Yu would not follow in the footsteps of the Taiwu Empire elder. God formation, 9 abyss. Long Yu raised his hand, and 9 pitch-black cracks quietly appeared in midair, directly blocking the path of the frenzied battle demon cow's charge. Originally, the frenzied demon bull did not care much, but when it was hit by the first pitch-black crack that extended out, its whole body suddenly twitched, and its skin began to turn black. Not good, hurry, run, the frenzied demon bull still wanted to warn its friend, the flaming mountain cat, but as more and more pitch-black cracks hit its body, it couldn't even say a word. The Godly Formation 9 Abyss, a Grade 3 Godly Formation, this technique can be said to be invincible in Shenwu world. Not to mention a Grade 3 Godly Formation, even the simplest Grade 9 Godly Formation has never been seen before. Not only that, there were not many people in the entire Shenwu world who had reached 9th grade compatibility with divine runes, let alone a method to cultivate God formations. Relying on the God Formation 9 Abyss, Long Yu was able to break Yi Ziwei's absolute beginning divine rune in one move. It was clear how terrifying this God Formation technique was. Of course, Yi Ziwei's absolute beginning Thunder Seal was not in its complete state, or it had not awakened yet, otherwise Long Yu would not be Yi Ziwei's opponent. What a pity, you're the ones who think too much. As soon as Long Yu attacked, he directly killed the Emperor late-stage Frenzy Demon Bull. This caused the Flaming Mountain Cat Demon Cultivator, who was stunned by the 8 trigrams Heaven Suppression technique, to explode in anger. However, in the next moment, the Flaming Mountain Cat Demon Cultivator was also enveloped by the power of the life and death contract, and instantly turned to ashes. Originally, these 2 demon cultivators were planning to kill Long Yu after killing the 2 people from the Taiwu Empire, but they didn't expect that Long Yu would attack them without hesitation, and even easily killed one of them, causing them to suffer a crushing defeat today. And the consequence of this crushing defeat was, of course, losing their lives. In the battles of Netherworld Black Palace, there would usually be a way out. After all, everyone was a relatively strong existence in the Shenwu world, and they often met each other. It was only a competition for treasures, there was no need to kill each other. However, Long Yu and Shi Yengwu didn't want any information about them to be leaked. Since the other party had the intention to kill them, there was no need to let them go. In any case, Long Yu couldn't possibly give up the Netherworld crystal to the other party. If that was the case, there would be a conflict between them sooner or later, so he naturally had to strike first. The corpses of the 4 demon cultivators were completely annihilated by the power of the Netherworld divine script. Then, Shi Yangwu's originally hidden figure appeared, and she put the rhombus-shaped Netherworld crystal that was originally floating in the air into her bag. "It's done, let's hurry up and go." Long Yu called out to Shi Yengwu, and the 2 of them flashed past, directly entering the spatial vortex in the middle of the main palace, and then disappeared. In the next moment, the 2 of them arrived at the second Nether Palace. In the second Nether Palace, there were a total of 2 main palaces, and each main palace contained a Netherworld crystal. Long Yu and Shi Yangwu's goal was to obtain both Netherworld crystals in the second Nether Palace, so they had to find them as soon as possible. The moment Long Yu and Shi Yengwu stepped into the second Nether Palace, the expressions of many people who were still exploring the first Nether Palace changed at the same time. Especially Lei Emperor's 7th direct disciple, Zhong Zhiyan, and 8th direct disciple, Lu Feihong. The 2 of them had been deducing Long Yu's location, and then hurried towards Long Yu's location. But just now, they found that the difficulty of deducing Long Yu's location had increased by at least 10 times. They're heading to the second Nether Palace? Zhong Zhiyan and Lu Feihong looked at each other. They felt that the kid's luck couldn't be that good, right? He directly went to the second Nether Palace? After all, the paths of the 10,000 secondary palaces in the first Nether Palace were complicated, and there was no pattern to them at all. It would definitely take a lot of time to find the main palace that led to the second Nether Palace. But now, Long Yu had directly stepped into the second Nether Palace. How could they not be shocked? No, maybe he just returned to the first Nether Palace. Zhong Jian's expression sank as he guessed. You can't think of it that way. Long Yu definitely has a lot of secrets on him, and that's definitely the key to his smooth sailing. Lu Feihong analyzed calmly. If he returned to the first Nether Palace, then I can't be bothered with him. But if he really went to the second Nether Palace, then he definitely has some secrets on him. I don't believe that his luck is that good to find the first Nether Palace's main palace so quickly. Should we still chase after him? Zhong Jian asked with some hesitation. He had just killed a lot of black fog life forms in the first Nether Palace, and his inner world had expanded a lot, so he wanted to kill as many black fog life forms as possible. Although he really wanted to deal with Long Yu, he definitely had to wait until his martial Dao realm improved. Now that there was such an opportunity, were they going to give up this opportunity in the process of chasing Long Yu? Of course we have to chase after him. Not only do we have to chase after him, we have to chase after him as fast as possible. Lu Feihong looked at Zhong Jian and was a little unhappy with this person's performance. This guy was really a blockhead. He couldn't see the opportunity in front of him at all. However, Zhong Jian couldn't see it, and Lu Feihong didn't tell him. In Lu Feihong's eyes, Long Yu was originally just an enemy of his junior brother, but now that Long Yu was able to go to the second Nether Palace so quickly, it was obvious that he had a big secret on him. If he obtained this secret, it was very likely that he would be like Long Yu, possessing stronger martial Dao talent and cultivation resources. This was an excellent opportunity. Of course, Lu Feihong didn't want to share this opportunity with Zhong Jian, so he didn't say much. He just brought Zhong Jian as fast as possible and flew in the direction of Long Yu, which he had deduced half an hour ago. As long as they followed Long Yu's path, they could find Long Yu's path, and find the way to the second Nether Palace faster. The heavens are really helping me, Lu Feihong thought in his heart. His eyes flashed with a shrewd look, and he brought Zhong Jian to chase. Chapter 929. At this moment, the number of people who could reach the main hall of the first palace was much more than before. In a short period of time, dozens of people had passed through the spatial whirlpool and arrived at the second palace. Although Long Yu and Shi Yengu could clearly sense the location of the main hall, their cultivation was still not as high as the others, so their flying speed was naturally slower. Some late Emperor Realm experts were twice as fast as Long Yu and Shi Yengu. If they were lucky, it was normal for them to find the main hall of the first palace first. However, it was not so easy for others to catch up to Long Yu in the second palace. This was because there were a total of 200,000 secondary palaces in the second palace, which was 10 times more than the first palace. If there were only 10,000 secondary palaces, it was possible to find the main hall before Long Yu, or second only to Long Yu. However, there were a total of 200,000 secondary palaces. It was extremely difficult to rely on luck to find the main hall. Ordinary people would need to spend at least 4 to 5 days to find the main hall of the second palace and enter the third palace. However, for Long Yu and Shi Yengu, this time was greatly reduced. The two stepped into the second palace, and along the way, they encountered Emperor Realm Black Mist lifeforms. However, the two did not deal with these lifeforms, because their ultimate goal was to reach the final profound palace. Therefore, the two had to obtain all 45 9 nether crystals before everyone else. They could not miss a single one. There are more than 3,000 secondary palaces. Let's move forward as fast as we can. Under such circumstances, Long Yu took out a fan. This fan was a Great Desolation high-rank combat weapon that was plundered from the Supreme Martial Empire Elder after his death. It was a speed-type combat weapon. With a wave of the giant fan, a gust of wind doubled the two's speed at least, and this state could be maintained for a long time. It was most likely because of this fan that the two supreme martial empire elders were able to find the main hall of the first palace so quickly. But now, Long Yu and Shu Chan could conceal their presence with balanced control, so the black fog life forms along the way couldn't detect their presence at all, which made their speed even faster than before. A stream of light rapidly passed through the dark secondary halls of the second palace, shuttling through the secondary halls one after another. About an hour later, the two finally arrived at the first main hall of the second palace. Without a doubt, no one could be faster than the two of them. 9 Nether condensed the crystal and floated in the center of the main hall. Long Yu went forward and kept it in his arms. Then, he immediately used a secret technique to detect the direction of the other main hall. "Let's go." Long Yu called out to Shi Yengu, then waved his fan to speed up the two of them, and once again flew towards another main palace. At that moment, what Long Yu didn't know was that 2 people had already stepped into the second palace. Moreover, they were constantly deducing the movements of the 2 of them. These 2 people were Lei Emperor's 7th direct disciple, Zhong Jian, and 8th direct disciple, Lu Feihong. Both of them were early-stage Soul Emperors. Although they had just stepped into the realm of Soul Emperors, their powers of divination were at the pinnacle of perfection. It took them less than half an hour to calculate Long Yu's location. As the two continued to run simulations, they executed the thunder movement technique that the Thunder Emperor had imparted to them. It was an ancient superior grade movement technique, and they closed in on the two at a speed that was even faster than Long Yu and Sunset Dance. When using the lightning movement technique, the two of them were even faster than the current Long Yu and Shi Yengu. At this rate, both of them would arrive at the other main hall of the second palace at almost the same time. The first main hall, Long Yu and Shi Yengu quickly took it, giving them no time to calculate. But for the second main hall, because of Zhong Jian and Lu Feihong's calculations, Long Yu wouldn't be able to obtain it so easily. Second secluded palace, second main hall. 2 hours later, this main hall welcomed its first guests in 50 years. It was Long Yu and Shi Yengu who flew straight here. "It's done." Long Yu saw that the 9 nether crystal was still in the main hall and breathed a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that he wasn't the fastest. If that was the case, then his plan to enter the final profound palace would be ruined. However, just as he was about to step forward and take away the 9 nether crystal, he suddenly felt a sense of alarm in his heart. His figure quickly flashed to the side. In the next moment, a thunderous sword light attacked from behind, instantly cutting through his body. "Who?" Long Yu frowned and turned around, just in time to see 2 handsome young men flying towards him. One of them was holding a thunderous longsword in his hand. It seemed that the thunderous sword light just now was cast by this person. Long Yu had a slight impression of these 2 people. They were Lei Emperor's 7th and 8th direct disciples. Long Yu immediately became vigilant. These 2 fellows had appeared here and directly attacked him. They definitely had malicious intentions, so the following battle was likely inevitable. However, there were still some doubts in Long Yu's heart. He didn't doubt why the 2 of them were able to catch up to him so quickly and find his location. However, he was very puzzled. Why didn't he sense their presence when they were so close to him? It had to be known that Long Yu had now mastered the 5th level, balanced control. Could it be that these 2 people had some strange way of hiding their aura? No matter what, Long Yu remembered this in his heart. Then, without waiting for the other party to say anything, he directly turned around and spat out a 9 nether dragon breath. At the same time, hundreds of ancient shadows were condensed and spread out in all directions. One of the primordial shadows flew straight towards the crystal condensed by the 9 nether at the center of the main hall, wanting to collect it. Long Yu's action gave the 2 of them a fright. Lu Feihong wanted to say some polite words and try to get some secrets from Long Yu, but he didn't expect that Long Yu would directly attack without saying a word. Thunderbolt movement technique. Their figures instantly turned into a flash of lightning and flashed to the side, directly evading Long Yu's 9 nether dragon breath. Just as the two of them were about to split up, one to deal with Long Yu, the other with Sunset Dance. However, the pitch-black dragon breath of the 9 underworlds suddenly changed direction and split into two. It continued to spread towards the two of them, giving off a strange and eerie aura. Long Yu's 9 nether dragon breath was now an imperial path technique, and it had the function of automatically tracking the target. How could it be so easily evaded with a movement technique? In the next moment, both of them used a defensive technique to block the 9 nether dragon breath. However, at this time, Long Yu had already collected the 9 nether crystal. Watching Long Yu's action, Shi Yengu was not stunned at all. Instead, her whole body condensed divine characters of death, and she used the Dance of Death martial technique towards the 7th pro-disciple of Lei Emperor, Zhongjian. This martial technique was an extremely confusing martial technique, and it was the strongest martial technique taught to her by the Envoy of Death, a top-grade Archean-level martial technique. Even though Zhongjian's martial realm was 3 levels higher than Shi Yangwu's, he was confused by the Dance of Death at this moment. In his eyes, countless figures of Shi Yengu appeared, surrounding him and constantly approaching. No matter which Shi Yengu figure he wanted to attack, Shi Yangwu's figure would disappear, and then another figure of Shi Yengu would appear in another place. Thunderbolt Vein Seal Die. Seeing that Long Yu was about to attack, the 8th pro-disciple, Lu Feihong, didn't bother with nonsense. He raised his hand and blasted a bolt of lightning towards Long Yu's body. Long Yu subconsciously used divine characters of void to dodge, but then he suddenly realized that he couldn't use divine characters of space in this secluded palace. In this moment of confusion, the bolt of lightning struck Long Yu's body, and with a flicker of electricity, it completely sealed all of Long Yu's meridians. This was a control-type ability, and one that Lu Feihong had mastered. After all, he was a pro-disciple of Lei Emperor. Even though he was only an early-stage Great Emperor, he was still much more difficult to deal with than the other late-stage Great Emperors. For the time being, Long Yu didn't think about how the other party had seen through his true body. No matter what, he had to stop the other party from using any other killer moves, or else Long Yu would definitely be in danger. In the next moment, hundreds of Long Yu's desolate ancient shadows moved in unison, each condensing one fallen dark star after another, and surrounded Lu Feihong. Lu Feihong still wanted to directly control Long Yu and force Long Yu to reveal his secret. Therefore, he hesitated for a moment as to what method he should use to deal with Long Yu. However, it was precisely this hesitation that allowed Long Yu's desolate ancient phantoms to find an opportunity. Countless fallen dark stars rumbled over and trapped Lu Feihong within them before exploding with a bang. A lightning barrier appeared around Lu Feihong's body, blocking the damage caused by the bombardment of the fallen dark stars. However, after a period of delay, Long Yu was finally able to extricate himself from the control state of the Lightning Vein Seal. Under the control of Thunderbolt Vein Seal, Long Yu couldn't use any methods. It could be said that he was just a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. But now that Long Yu had broken free, it wouldn't be so easy for the other party to use this move. Balanced Control. Hide. Divine Concealment. Long Yu used both methods at the same time. Originally, he only wanted to hide from the black fog life form in this secluded palace, so he didn't use his full strength to hide. Perhaps this was how he was discovered, but now, Long Yu used all his strength to hide himself. Whether it was Lu Feihong or Zhongjian who had just broken free from the Dance of Death, both suddenly lost track of Long Yu, as if Long Yu had completely disappeared. Death Assertion. Just as Zhongjian broke free from Death Dance's bewildering control, Sunset Dance's next attack arrived. Death Affirmation appeared, and the aura of Death Divine Runes rumbled out, directly entering Zhongjian's mind. You're courting death. Zhong Jian suddenly glared angrily and his body erupted with lightning. Endless lightning flowed through his body and unexpectedly expelled all the power of the divine runes of death from his body. The difference in martial Dao realm between the two sides was too great. If she wanted to fight against Zhong Jian, Shi Yengu was not qualified. Although we can't find Long Yu, this little girl is still here. Let's directly capture her and see if that boy comes out. Chapter 930. Long Yu had already guessed Lu Feihong's plan to ambush Shi Yengu. Long Yu was the enemy's main target. What would they do if Long Yu disappeared? Without a doubt, they would first subdue Shi Yengu. Since Long Yu had already guessed their plan, he would not allow them to succeed. Before Lu Feihong decided to conceal himself completely, he had already predicted this scene. When Lu Feihong flashed behind Sunset Dance, 8 pillars of light of different colors suddenly appeared in the void and shot toward Lu Feihong. In the next moment, he was suppressed on the spot. 8 trigram suppression. Long Yu had already set up the 8 trigram suppression around Shi Yengu. This was a first-rank divine chain. Even the early-stage Emperor Lei Emperor's direct disciple, Lu Feihong, was completely immobilized. Though he was conscious and could see his surroundings, he was unable to react. The 8 pillars of light were like the strongest chains in the world, trapping him firmly in midair. It's over. Long Yu's voice came from the side. 9 black cracks suddenly appeared from the side and extended towards Lu Feihong. It was the 3rd-rank divine formation, 9 Abyss. 9 Abyss attack. 9 black cracks tore through space and extended towards Lu Feihong, annihilating him within. Not a single trace was left behind. Long Yu's most important battle techniques were his control techniques and the formation of 9 Abyss. The destructive power of the formation of 9 Abyss was undeniable. It could kill even a late-stage emperor in one blow, let alone an early-stage emperor. There were many control techniques. Origin Energy, 9 Abyss Suppression, 9 Trigram Suppression, 9 Abyss Hand, Soul Seal Siphon, and so on. Then kill with the formation of 9 Abyss in one blow. This was the entire process of Long Yu's battle. Of course, he would only use it when he was certain that he could kill his opponent. Otherwise, it was very likely that others would leak this information, and it would not be so easy to kill others by surprise, especially now that he could not use the spatial break divine rune. The Duankong Sacred Spring could be used, but if he couldn't use the Space Breaker divine rune, the Duankong Sacred Spring wouldn't be able to unleash much of its power. There was no need to reveal it now. As Lu Feihong's body was completely annihilated by the formation of 9 Abyss, the shocked Zhong Jian was also enveloped by the 9 Abyss fog and corroded away, leaving no trace behind. After the 2 of them died, there were quite a lot of cultivation resources left behind. Other than medicinal pills, there were also combat weapons. However, there was no need for Zhang Xian to use them. After all, they belonged to the Thunder Emperor's direct disciple. Although no one would investigate the identity of the 2 of them, if Zhang Xian were to openly use the combat weapons of others, it would be too embarrassing for the Thunder Emperor. Long Yu still had a good impression of the Thunder Emperor and did not wish to become enemies with him. Since someone wanted to kill him, he naturally had to retaliate. However, it would be fine after he retaliated and killed the other party. The things that the other party had left behind were not worth much to Long Yu, so he might as well just leave them in this main palace. If someone else came to the main palace and saw the cultivation resources, they might start fighting, and those people would slowly enter the 3rd Nether Palace. Let's go, the rest of the journey should be quite safe. Long Yu said to Shi Yengu. The 2 of them moved together, entering the spatial whirlpool in the main palace and finally entering the 3rd Nether Palace. In the 3rd Nether Palace, all that appeared were Emperor Realm Black Fog life forms. Most of the other cultivators of Shen Wu world could only reach this step, but that was something that would only happen a few days later. The only people who could enter the third Nether Palace right now were Long Yu and Shi Yengu. However, this was only limited to Shenwu world. What Long Yu and Shi Yengu didn't know was that when the 9 Nether Palace opened, not only did the 5 emperors of Shenwu world lead a group of people here, there were also other mysterious figures that appeared in the 9 Nether Palace, and their speed of advancement was just as fast. Zhong Zhiyan and Lu Feihong's appearance was only a small interlude that didn't affect Long Yu too much. When Long Yu entered the third Nether Palace, he found out that there were a total of 500,000 sub-palaces in the third Nether Palace, as well as 3 main palaces. The terrain of the third Nether Palace was a few times more complicated than the second Nether Palace. However, this wasn't much of a problem for Long Yu and Shi Yengu. The third Nether Palace is basically our last chance to improve. The Black Fog life forms here are all emperors. Brother Long can just kill them. Shi Yengu thought for a bit and said, "If we get to the fourth Nether Palace, the Black Fog life forms are mostly 1-star Emperor realm, we won't be able to deal with them. How about we kill some of the Black Fog life forms along the way? After all, the others aren't as fast as us." "That's not a good idea." Long Yu, however, shook his head. "There are opportunities to improve at all times, but if someone else were to be a step ahead of us and take away the 9 underworlds crystal in one of the main halls, then our trip would have been in vain. Remember, we can't lose the big picture for the sake of the small." "That's true." Shi Yengu thought for a bit and realized that Long Yu's words were very reasonable. It was better to be safe than sorry. If someone really took away the 9 Serenities crystal, wouldn't it be too miserable? There is a main palace outside of the 11,000 sub-palaces. Let's go there as fast as we can and take away the 9 Serenities crystal. Long Yu said, then took Shi Yengu and fanned the giant fan battle weapon, increasing their flying speed by more than double. At this time, the only movement skill that Long Yu could use was the Dance of the Dragon Sparrow. When Spatial Divine Script couldn't be used, normal movement skills would instead be very effective. It was thanks to the Dance of the Dragon Sparrow that Long Yu and Shi Yengu were able to fly so fast. Before most people even reached the second Nether Palace, they had already arrived at the third Nether Palace. The entire trip to the third Nether Palace was basically uneventful. Long Yu and Shi Yengu quickly went through all 3 main palaces and obtained 3 9 Serenities crystal. Right after that, the 2 of them went straight to the 4th Nether Palace. The 4th Nether Palace, to the majority of Shenwu world's martial cultivators, was definitely a forbidden area, because the Black Fog life forms that appeared here were at least as strong as a 1-star emperor. Even a terrifying combatant like the Tianxiang Emperor would die if he came to the 4th Nether Palace. It was already very difficult to deal with a single Black Fog life form, not to mention that if they couldn't defeat it quickly, more Black Fog life forms would surround them, and they wouldn't be able to escape no matter what. For Long Yu and Shi Yengu, this wasn't a big problem, because the 2 of them had both comprehended balanced control, especially since Long Yu had already cultivated it to the 5th level. Even a 1-star Emperor level Black Fog life form wouldn't be able to discover Long Yu's hidden figure. With Long Yu protecting Shi Yengu, it wouldn't be too much of a problem to sneak through the 4th Nether Palace, even the 5th Nether Palace, the 6th Nether Palace, and so on. Right now, Long Yu and Shi Yengu both wanted to obtain the 9 Serenities crystal as quickly as possible, then go to the deepest part of the palace to open the final profound palace. However, after they had advanced for a period of time in the 4th Nether Palace, they discovered that something was wrong, because the number of Black Fog life forms in the 4th Nether Palace was completely different. Some of the palaces were filled with Black Fog life forms, and there were at least hundreds and thousands of them, but some of the palaces didn't even have a single life form, as if someone had already come here and cleaned them up. This discovery made the 2 of them a little confused. Logically speaking, it was impossible for anyone else to come to the 4th Nether Palace at this time, But now, the number of one-star Emperor-level black fog life forms in the entire palace had obviously decreased by a lot. Connecting this to some of the information that Long Yu had previously understood, he knew that someone had already come to the fourth Nether Palace, but he didn't know who it was. We have to speed up. Fortunately, we didn't stay too long in the third Nether Palace, Shi Yengu said with admiration. With regards to Long Yu's previous judgment, she was now completely convinced. After all, who would have guessed that someone would come to the fourth Nether Palace before them? In the fourth Nether Palace there were a total of 4 main palaces, and each of the main palaces was separated in 4 different directions, so it would take a long time to run through the 4 main palaces. If it wasn't for the fact that Long Yu and Shi Yengu had learned the secret technique to sense the 9 Serenities crystal, it would have been impossible for them to collect 45 9 Serenities crystal in a short period of a month. 2 hours later, Long Yu and Shi Yengu finally arrived at the first main palace of the fourth Nether Palace. The moment they arrived at the main palace, their hearts sank. In the center of the main palace, the 9 Serenities crystal that should have been floating had actually disappeared. Someone had come here before them. Long Yu and Shi Yengu looked at each other and saw the seriousness in each other's eyes. Originally, they were full of confidence for this trip, but now, it seemed that there was definitely an existence that Long Yu couldn't see through among the people that had entered the 9 Serenities Palace. What should we do? Someone actually got here before us. Shi Yengu saw that the plan was about to fail, and was instantly a little flustered. Don't worry, let's find some clues first, then head to the next main palace. Long Yu also had a bad premonition, but there was no other way. Right now, he had to make a decision, and that was whether to continue or to give up. If he couldn't collect enough 9 Serenities crystal, then even if he headed to the 9th Nether Palace, he wouldn't be able to open the entrance to the final Profound Palace. It was equivalent to all his previous efforts being in vain. But until the very last moment, Long Yu absolutely wouldn't give up. Since he knew that someone had taken away the 9 Serenities crystal, then he only needed to find that person and snatch it back from that person's hands. Although the person who could take away the 9 Serenities crystal so quickly in the fourth Nether Palace would definitely not be any weaker than the 1-star Emperor, but what if it was some other martial cultivator who was weaker, but possessed a very fast speed? Chapter 931. When Long Yu arrived at the first main hall of the fourth palace, the 9 nether crystals had actually disappeared. This gave Long Yu a bad premonition. However, he and Shi Yengu could only continue searching. Their next target was the second main hall of the fourth palace. During the search, the two of them discovered that quite a number of secondary halls had indeed been cleared out. It could be seen that other people had definitely arrived at the fourth palace. That's impossible. Shi Yengu flew forward while frowning. Let's not talk about the second palace. Now that we've arrived at the fourth palace, how can other people be so fast? Could it be that those people have other ways to directly come to the fourth palace? Maybe. Long Yu said in a deep voice. Although the 9 Nether Profound Palace can only start from the first Nether Palace, this is only what the Death Envoy said. The Death Envoy hasn't come here for countless years. I'm afraid that the rules here have already changed. If the rules of 9 Nether Palace can be changed, then it must be a force from beyond the heavens. Let's be careful. If it was a force from beyond the heavens, then they might be able to see through their hidden figures using the balanced control secret technique. This was simply fatal for Long Yu and Shi Yengu. It must be known that those who were killing in the fourth palace were at least at the level of a 1-star emperor. If they faced Long Yu head-on, he definitely wouldn't be their opponent. If even their last life-saving method was seen through, then Long Yu and Shi Yengu would definitely be in danger. No matter how much information they had on the Death Envoy, it was useless. After all, information wasn't strength. This place wasn't like the small world remains of the Sufferers, where they could use the small world handprint to play tricks on others. In the 9 Nether Palace, Other than knowing a little more, Long Yu and Shi Yengu couldn't display much more power than they did in the outside world. The two of them continued to move forward. After about 4 hours, they weren't far from the second main hall. At this moment, Long Yu heard a series of explosions from the side. It was clearly the sound of people fighting over there. Let's go and take a look. Long Yu brought Shi Yengu and flew towards the direction of the explosion. No matter what, Long Yu wanted to know who was the first to arrive at the fourth palace. About 4 or 5 side palaces away, in just a few breaths, Long Yu and Shi Yengu saw the scene in the middle of the battle from afar. There were actually 3 figures. It's Murong Xiuzhen. Long Yu recognized one of the figures at a glance. It was the cabinet elder from the Alliance of 5 Emperors, Murong Xiuzhen. There were more than 20 cabinet elders in the Alliance of 5 Emperors, and Murong Xiuzhen was one of them. Since this person could come to the fourth secluded palace, it meant that his strength had at least reached the level of a 1-star emperor. However, at this moment, Murong Xiuzhen's situation wasn't very good, because the other 2 people were attacking him together. Very quickly, Long Yu sensed another injured figure in the corner of the battle palace. It seemed that he was also from the Alliance of 5 Emperors. He should be Murong Xiuzhen's companion. As for the 2 figures fighting against Murong Xiuzhen, they were a man and a woman. The man was handsome and the woman was charming. Both of them were surprisingly young. Although it was impossible to judge a cultivator's age from their appearance, the other party looked to be in their 20s, yet they already had the strength of a 1-star emperor. This talent was definitely top-notch in Shen Wu world. However, Long Yu had never seen this man and woman in the 5 Emperors' holy city for so long. Who are they? Long Yu didn't make any wild guesses. After all, there were too many possibilities, and the probability of guessing the truth was minuscule. There was no need to waste time. He and Shi Yengu simply used balanced control together, completely concealing their aura fluctuations, then hid and watched the battle from the sidelines. From the looks of it, Murong Xiuzhen's companion had already been injured by the man and woman. Then, Murong Xiuzhen had to fight 1 against 2, protecting his injured companion while protecting himself. The man and woman's attacks were extremely fierce. With a wave of their hands, they unleashed the power of various divine runes. What shocked Long Yu the most was that the 2 of them were actually using a god formation. Although it was only a rank 7 god formation, the fact that they could use a god formation meant that they most likely came from beyond the heavens. How did someone from beyond the heavens come to the fourth secluded palace? If that's the case, wouldn't there be a lot of 5-star emperor, 6-star emperor, and so on heading to the lower floors of the secluded palace? Long Yu immediately thought of many things, and the situation on the battlefield seemed to be one-sided. Under the continuous bombardment of the opponent's god formation and Emperor Dao, Murong Xiuzhen found it hard to resist. The power in his body was being consumed at an extremely fast speed. Although Murong Xiuzhen's Emperor Dao mystic ability was a defensive mystic ability, he wouldn't be able to last long if this continued. The man and woman seemed to be teasing Murong Xiuzhen. They didn't directly attack to kill him. Instead, they spoke in a mocking tone. "Little old man, why aren't you quickly handing over the condensed crystal? You dare to oppose our symbol clan? Are you tired of living?" Murong Xiuzhen knew that only death awaited him if he gave in. Although he would die sooner or later if he persisted, there was always a glimmer of hope. He snorted coldly and said angrily, "According to the rules of the Netherworld Black Palace, doesn't the treasure belong to whoever arrives first? Your symbol clan dares to rob it so forcefully? Do you really not put our alliance of 5 emperors in your eyes?" "Ah!" The charming woman giggled and casually released a cluster of terrifying flames that surrounded Murong Xiuzhen. "If I burn you to ashes, who will know how you died?" Murong Xiuzhen was furious, but his strength really couldn't compare to the man and woman. Under their attacks, he kept retreating. "Symbol clan? What the hell is this thing?" Long Yu thought to himself. However, at this moment, he had already decided to make a move. There was no doubt that Murong Xiuzhen definitely had condensed netherworld crystals from the conversations of the people present. Perhaps the man and woman also had condensed netherworld crystals, so Long Yu had to make a move. On the other hand, Murong Xiuzhen was also a member of the Alliance of Five Emperors. Although he had inadvertently told the Taiwu Empire about Long Yu's secret, he had never participated in the enmity between Long Yu and the Taiwu Empire. He had even given Long Yu a lot of help in many aspects. As for Murong Xiuzhen, Long Yu could only say that he was careless in making friends with the Taiwu Abyss, but this person was still a good person. They are both one-star emperors. Do you really want to make a move? If there is an accident, we will. Shi Yenwu was shocked when she learned of Long Yu's plan. It's fine. Even though they're one-star imperial emperors, they've merely cultivated one of their innate mystiques to the Emperor Dao mystique. Moreover, their Emperor Dao mystiques are offensive mystique. They shouldn't be able to stop my divine formation 9 abyss. Long Yu explained. Moreover, we have been hiding here for so long, but they haven't found us. It can be seen that the balanced control secret technique still has a confusing effect on them. Even if we fail, we can still hide and escape. Shi Yenwu nodded, but it was obvious that she still felt that Long Yu was taking too big of a risk. What if the two did not make a move not because they didn't find him, but because they had clearly found him but pretended not to find him to lure him into making a move? This was not impossible. After all, the other party was likely to be a force from beyond the heavens. It was difficult to guess what methods they had. But no matter what, Long Yu immediately made a move. He did not rush out to confront the man and woman. Instead, he first hid in the surroundings and quietly began to arrange the 8 trigrams suppressing the heavens. Moreover, he arranged 2 8 trigrams suppressing the heavens. What made Long Yu more and more stable was that when he arranged the 2 8 trigrams suppressing the heavens, the man and woman were completely unaware of it. The effect of the balanced control secret technique was too terrifying. Long Yu speculated the direction in which the man and the woman were heading and directly laid down the 8 trigram heaven-suppressing divine chains in the void. Then, as Murong Xiuzhen retreated in defeat, the man and the woman gradually approached the 2 8 trigram heaven-suppressing divine chains. Soon, the other party chased Murong Xiuzhen to the vicinity of the 8 trigrams suppressing the heavens. Activate! With a thought from Long Yu, a total of 16 light beams of various colors suddenly rose from the void and directly swept towards the man and woman, completely suppressing them. Success! Murong Xiuzhen was stunned for a while by this sudden change. He had also watched Long Yu's competition in the strongest emperor realm. Of course, he recognized that these 8 light beams were a method that Long Yu had used to suppress the opponent for a period of time. Could it be that Long Yu had come? Or was there someone else who had mastered the same method as Long Yu? It was reasonable to say that Long Yu was only in the Emperor realm. It was impossible for him to come to the 4th palace. However, that was Long Yu. Murong Xiuzhen was moved. No matter what, someone was secretly helping him. He must seize this opportunity. Otherwise, today would be the day of his death. 2nd grade divine chain, freezing sky arrow. Murong Xiuzhen waved his hand and used the 2nd grade divine chain, which shot directly towards the young man trapped by Long Yu's 8 trigrams suppressing the heavens. Previously, he had been tired of dealing with the opponent's attacks and had no chance to counterattack. Now that he had the opportunity to counterattack, he directly used his strongest attack. As the freezing sky arrow suddenly condensed and shot towards the young man, the entire space seemed to be filled with endless cold air. Even the netherworld divine characters in the space seemed to be frozen by it. This was the 2nd grade divine chain used by a 1-star emperor. Long Yu saw all of this. However, he knew that it was a bit difficult to kill the man and the woman because he saw that although the man and the woman were trapped by the 8 trigrams suppressing the heavens, there was a hint of ridicule in their eyes. Could it be that they didn't care about the suppression of the 8 trigrams suppressing the heavens? Long Yu was moved. After all, he was only in the Emperor realm. The suppression power of the 8 trigrams suppressing the heavens was not too strong. At the very least, the effect was negligible against a 1-star emperor. Chapter 932. When Murong Xiuzhen's second-grade divine chain and wintry arrow shot out, the man and woman from the symbol clan grinned. Their bodies shone with purple light and they broke through the 8 trigrams suppressing heaven's blockade in an instant. What method is this? Long Yu saw everything clearly. When the opponent's purple light bloomed, the 8 trigrams suppressing heaven's 8 light pillars were destroyed without any resistance. Then, the 2 purple light pillars blocked Murong Xiuzhen's wintry arrow, and the 2 collided with each other and completely shattered. It's another kind of divine formation. This aura, it's definitely a divine formation. These 2 guys actually cultivated this kind of divine formation. This is going to be difficult. Long Yu's heart sank. He didn't know what method the opponent had to be so confident. But now, it seemed that the opponent definitely had the conditions to be so confident. However, it was impossible for Long Yu to admit defeat like this. 9 Underworld Heavenly Light. Come out. With a thought from Long Yu, the endless netherworld divine runes condensed into a dense fog that drifted in all directions and instantly surrounded the man and woman. Out of his expectations, because he was currently in the 4th Nether Palace of the 9 Nether Profound Palace, the might of this move had actually increased by a large margin. At the very least, the stability of the 9 Nether Heavenly Light had increased by more than 3 times. This was because the entire palace was originally filled with the power of netherworld divine runes. Not only was the speed of Long Yu's move extremely fast, it was also a lot more powerful. The man and woman who were shrouded in the 9 Underworld Heavenly Light couldn't disperse the 9 Underworld Heavenly Light for a while. At this point, how could Murong Xiuzhen not know that Long Yu was indeed helping him? What surprised Murong Xiuzhen was that his divine ability couldn't detect Long Yu's location at all. This made him incomparably amazed. That brat must have relied on this concealment method to arrive at the 4th palace from the front hall so quickly, right? Right now, Murong Xiuzhen didn't dare to be careless. Ice divine runes kept surging out from his body. The divine rune power he was most proficient in was ice divine runes. At this moment, the temperature of the entire palace dropped to an extremely cold level. If martial cultivators still needed to breathe, a single breath here would instantly freeze into ice. This showed how low the temperature in this place was. However, for martial cultivators in the Emperor realm, the effect of temperature was almost negligible. The most important thing was that Murong Xiuzhen absorbed the cold air around him and performed another Imperial Path magical ability. Murong Xiuzhen is currently a 1-star emperor. As the Grand Elder of the Alliance of 5 Emperors, his strength is second to none in the entire Shen Wu world. A 1-star emperor had mastered an Emperor realm mystique, but it did not mean that their combat power was limited to this Emperor realm mystique. Murong Xiuzhen's Tharch realm divine ability was a defensive one, but his other Emperor Path divine abilities weren't weak either. In an instant, countless ice arrows condensed and fell towards the 9th Underworld Heavenly Light like meteors. He wanted to cause some trouble for the man and the woman. Long Yu didn't stay idle either. After condensing the 9 Underworld Heavenly Radiance, he directly launched countless 9 Underworld blades towards the man and woman. At the same time, he raised his hand and a black light quickly shot out from it. He had used this during the competition between the strongest Emperor Realm Mystique, a second-grade divine chain, Death Realm Torment. Yun Jinglei, who was dealt with by him using this method, was saved by the King's Life Medallion. However, he still died soon after. Once struck by the Death Realm Torment, the power of the Death Runes would spread throughout the body, eventually destroying it completely. Now, the Death Realm Torment attacked again. This time, it was aimed directly at the charming woman from the Symbol clan. The black light disappeared in a flash. It easily penetrated her defense and penetrated her body. As soon as the black light penetrated her body, she felt that something was wrong. She reacted immediately. Her body glowed with a purple light, and waves of light attribute divine runes began to circulate throughout her body, resisting the power of the death realm torment that was eroding her body. This woman was an expert of the one-star Emperor realm after all. It was impossible for her to be killed by Long Yu like this. However, this also sealed off her ability to move. At the very least, she would not be able to do anything else for the next 5 breaths. He could only deal with the death realm torment first. Otherwise, if the death realm torment took effect, the woman would be seriously injured even if she didn't die. If this was a one-on-one battle, Long Yu would have basically won by restricting the opponent's ability to move. Unfortunately, this was not a one-on-one battle. That charming woman had a companion. The young man from the Z-Fan tribe seemed to have sensed that the woman's situation was not good. He flashed in front of the woman and began to protect her from the countless blades of the 9 nether and the rain of frost arrows. However, immediately after, another black light sprang out from Long Yu's hand. It rushed into the 9 underworld's heavenly light at lightning speed, and drilled into the young man's body. Another death realm torment. If the two of them were restricted by the death realm torment, it would be very easy for Long Yu to act. Unfortunately, the same method would definitely not be effective against geniuses. For example, the young man was already prepared for this. He focused all his attention on defense. When the black light of the death realm torment appeared, the young man raised his hand. A burst of purple light suddenly erupted, and completely shattered the black light of the death realm torment. You want to use the same method against the two of us? You're too naive, the young man sneered. His whole body suddenly erupted with power. A burst of purple light attribute divine runes surged in all directions like a wave. It actually began to gradually disperse the 9 underworlds' heavenly light. 9 underworlds' heavenly light solidify. Without hesitation, Long Yu continued to urge the power of the 9 underworlds' divine runes, wanting to strengthen the 9 underworlds' heavenly light. At this moment, Murong Xiuzhen's stronger attack arrived. He held a huge ice sword in his hand. The huge ice sword condensed on the huge ice sword, and he slashed at the head of the charming woman. The charming woman was still resisting the power of the death realm torment. At this moment, she couldn't free herself. Therefore, the young man had to stop dispersing the 9 underworlds' heavenly light and take the initiative to resist the huge ice sword. Infinite purple rays of light emerged and formed a purple shield wall, blocking Murong Xiuzhen's ice sword. Then, countless purple rays of light appeared behind Murong Xiuzhen and illuminated his whole body. He can still fight back? Long Yu was somewhat surprised by this. The young man was defending against the attack aimed at him and the attack aimed at the charming woman. At the same time, he was also able to launch a counterattack against Murong Xiuzhen. From this, it could be seen that his strength was absolutely terrifying. Even among the one-star emperors, this young man should be considered very strong, right? Kill them, don't worry about me. Ice divine runes appeared all over Murong Xiuzhen's body, forming pieces of ice armor that surrounded his whole body. This was his Emperor Path magical power, the ice armor. Its defensive ability was extremely terrifying. The endless purple light exploded when it approached Murong Xiuzhen. The terrifying destructive power shattered the ice armor. However, the ice armor's regenerative ability was extremely terrifying. Once a piece was shattered, another piece would immediately condense. In this way, if the opponent wanted to break this layer of ice armor, he would definitely need a stronger power, unless the opponent could find the flaws of the ice armor. Moreover, if the same move was used many times, the opponent would always be able to find a flaw. Very soon, as a few rays of purple light exploded near the ice armor, the speed at which the ice armor reformed slowed down a little. Clearly, those rays of purple light had found the weakness of the ice armor. Long Yu knew that there was no time to lose. Since Murong Xiuzhen could only defend, he could only leave the attack to himself. Now in front of him was a terrifying one-star Emperor-level powerhouse. Not only was his basic power 10 times higher than Long Yu's, but he also had much stronger means than Long Yu. For example, the Hand of 9 Underworlds and the Dragon Breath of 9 Underworlds were absolutely useless against the opponent. Therefore, Long Yu could only use his final means. Just as the opponent was busy dispelling the 9 Underworlds' heavenly light and dealing with Murong Xiuzhen, Long Yu directly raised his hand, and the power of the 9 Underworlds' divine runes quickly condensed in the space. Then, 9 dark cracks emerged from the void and instantly extended towards the young man. At the same time, Long Yu began to hide one fallen dark star after another in the surrounding 9 Underworlds' heavenly light. Together with the ancient desolate shadows, he could condense hundreds of fallen dark stars every breath. Long Yu had been doing this ever since he used the 9 Underworlds' heavenly light. Now, there were thousands of fallen dark stars hidden in the entire 9 Underworlds' heavenly light. However, Long Yu knew that this number was absolutely not enough. He had to delay for a little more time so that the number of fallen dark stars could reach more. Of course, Long Yu believed in the destructive power of the divine formation 9 Abyss, but the key was that the gap between his and the opponent's martial arts realm was too wide. The crushing of basic power made it very likely that the opponent would be able to crack the divine formation 9 Abyss. Long Yu's worries were not unfounded, because very quickly, 2 of the 9 pitch-black cracks that had quietly extended out were actually blocked by the purple light. Furthermore, the purple light started to tangle with each other, and no one was able to do anything to the other. The remaining 7 dark cracks, with infinite destructive power, directly hit the young man's body. Long Yu believed that the power of such a third-grade divine formation was more than enough to deal with the heavenly prison Thunder Emperor's body. However, to Long Yu's surprise, the young man was directly hit by the 7 dark cracks, but he was not directly destroyed and annihilated. Instead, his whole body was penetrated by the 7 dark crack. Although he was injured, he did not die. This strength, it's too terrifying. Fortunately, I have a trump card. Long Yu was inexplicably surprised. The strength of a 1-star emperor was indeed extraordinary. This young man's body was also abnormally strong, no weaker than Long Yu's current level. Once upon a time, the third-grade divine formation 9 Abyss was definitely Long Yu's greatest trump card. But now, Long Yu found that if he wanted to deal with stronger enemies, he had to condense enough fallen dark stars and detonate them at the same time. Even the power of the divine formation 9 Abyss couldn't kill that young man. It could be seen how terrifying his defense was. Chapter 933. What Long Yu didn't know was that when he displayed the divine formation 9 Abyss, the young man's heart couldn't help but skip a beat. However, his expression didn't change. It was obvious that he was very mature. Obviously, the young man recognized the divine formation 9 Abyss and was quite surprised. However, the divine formation 9 Abyss displayed by a mere Emperor Realm martial cultivator wasn't particularly threatening to him. It was precisely because he recognized the divine array of the 9 Abyss that he subconsciously thought that this was the strongest move of the person who had attacked him in the dark. Since even this move could not do anything to him, he was in an invincible position. Now, it was time for him to counterattack. However, he did not notice that in the 9 nether heavenly light around him, countless fallen dark stars were being condensed one by one, filling the entire area. The 7 pitch-black cracks of the divine formation 9 Abyss extended and fell on the young man's body. Although they pierced through his body, they didn't harm his vital parts. How naive! The young man's eyes were filled with cruelty. He stuck out his tongue and licked his lip. It seemed that he wanted to start a massacre. However, in the next moment, a terrifying explosion suddenly sounded around him. The fallen dark stars added together, a total of 4,000 to 5,000, exploded at the same time. The power of 100 fallen dark stars exploding at the same time was enough to kill an opponent in the same martial realm as Long Yu. Now, the power of 5,000 fallen dark stars exploding at the same time was hundreds or thousands of times stronger than the explosion of 100 fallen dark stars. Even if the opponent was a one-star emperor with a terrifying physical strength, it was still difficult for him to resist such a terrifying explosion. The explosion of 5,000 fallen dark stars lasted for a total of 5 or 6 breaths of time. During this time, Long Yu paid even more attention to concealing himself, not revealing the slightest trace of himself. If the other party was still alive, it would be a serious matter. When the fallen dark stars exploded, Murong Xiuzhen also retreated at the fastest speed and avoided the center of the explosion. However, he was still slightly affected and suffered some minor injuries. Murong Xiuzhen was surprised by the destructive power of Long Yu's explosion, but his complexion was not very good, because even such an explosion might not be able to kill his opponent. The Symbol Clan. This clan possesses a secret martial art that allows them to preserve their lives when their lives are in danger. No matter what method is used, it's impossible to kill them with a single blow. Murong Xiuzhen was extremely vigilant. At this time, a purple light suddenly flashed above his head, followed by the young man's figure descending from the sky. A purple light condensed into a sword light and slashed towards Murong Xiuzhen. "I've been guarding against your sneak attack," Murong Xiuzhen shouted. Ice divine runes condensed all over his body and instantly formed an ice cage. The cage enveloped the young man above his head and sealed him in the ice cage. Long Yu was hidden in the shadows, so of course, he was the first to notice this scene. However, when he looked over, he was shocked. He saw that the young man's body had indeed suffered serious injuries from the explosion of the fallen dark star. However, there was no bright red blood on his body, only purple blood. What's going on? Long Yu didn't understand what was going on. He had never heard of anyone having purple blood. However, he could tell that the other party had indeed suffered serious injuries from the explosion. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so much purple blood flowing out. Murong Xiuzhen and the young man confronted each other head-on. It was obvious that the young man was seriously injured. He could only exert less than half of his full strength. He was directly trapped by Murong Xiuzhen's ice cage. However, the next moment, the charming woman's figure also appeared in another direction. She was also blasted with purple blood, but she did not die. Instead, she launched an extremely fierce attack towards Murong Xiuzhen. Although the young man was frozen by Murong Xiuzhen's ice cage, the charming woman got rid of Long Yu's entanglement and displayed strength that was not weaker than the young man. Murong Xiuzhen was fighting 1 against 2. He was originally at an absolute disadvantage, but now, after Long Yu's interference, the fight became a tie. The main reason was that the two people were seriously injured by the explosion. The strength they could exert was extremely limited. Of course, after being injured, the two people did not dare to be careless. They used all their strength to deal with Murong Xiuzhen. Various purple lights flashed continuously, and Murong Xiuzhen was once again completely suppressed. Long Yu hid on the side and kept looking for opportunities. However, he found that he had used all the means that could pose a threat to the other party. If he made a move now, the same means would not have any effect. Instead, he might expose himself. In this case, once the existence of Long Yu was exposed, it was absolutely bad news for him. It was very likely that he would be killed by the other party in one move. After all, the other party was at the level of the one-star emperor. He was even more powerful than the Tianxiang emperor. Although Long Yu took the advantage of hiding and tricked the other party, he could not use the same method a second time. Next, Long Yu only had one chance left. That was to use the power of 9 underworld's deterrence at the critical stage of the battle. Previously, when Long Yu used the 8 trigrams heaven suppression on the 1-star Emperor, the effect was limited because the other party was too strong. He couldn't even suppress the other party at all. The other party directly broke free with a burst of purple light. But the 9 underworlds deterrence was different. This move ignored the difference in cultivation between the two parties. As long as the power of 9 underworlds dragon's true spirit appeared, it would certainly deter the opponent for at least a breath's time. This was Long Yu's last resort. He could only use it at the critical moment. This move would certainly determine the decisive victory. The battle between Murong Xiuzhen and the two people was extremely fierce. The purple light and the power of the icy divine text roared in the sky. Even though the two people of the Symbol clan were injured, they were not inferior to Murong Xiuzhen at all. Icy arrow array. As Murong Xiuzhen's figure flickered, he constantly condensed ice divine runes into arrows and launched a counterattack against the two opponents. As for the purple light attack, it was completely blocked by his ice armor. The other party had previously found the flaw of his icy armor. But now that the other party was seriously injured, it was quite difficult to break through the flaw of his icy armor. Countless icy arrows flew continuously in the field. The battlefield was extremely gorgeous. But as the battle progressed, Long Yu found that the man and woman of the Symbol clan seemed to be gradually approaching the other person who was resting and healing in the corner. Murong Xiuzhen didn't seem to realize this. Not good. Long Yu instantly thought of something. Everyone in the Abyss Black Palace had signed a life and death contract, and Murong Xiuzhen was no exception. Then, the injured old man in the corner was obviously Murong Xiuzhen's life and death contract. If that person was killed, Murong Xiuzhen would immediately die. Origin power. Abyss deterrence. Long Yu didn't hesitate and directly used this move. The aura of the Jiyo Dragon Emperor descended on the field. When this move was used in the Abyss Black Palace, its power seemed to be much stronger than usual. The man and woman who were approaching the old man in the corner were completely shocked by Long Yu's move. Then, Long Yu revealed himself and roared, "Elder Murong, kill!" In the next moment, the 9 Abyss Divine Formation attacked once again. 9 pitch-black cracks rapidly extended from Long Yu's hands, instantly blasting into the young man's body. Once again, the young man was pierced through, causing purple blood to spray out. Although Murong Xiuzhen's attack didn't kill the young man, the next attack that followed was enough to take his life. Murong Xiuzhen finally took out a longbow that was condensed from ice from his bosom. This combat weapon was actually a top-ranked ancient combat weapon. Moreover, it had already fused with Murong Xiuzhen to the level of soul fusion. Murong Xiuzhen was only one step away from completely merging with this longbow. At this moment, at the moment of life and death, Murong Xiuzhen finally completely merged with this longbow, reaching the level of unparalleled compatibility. Then, he pulled the bowstring, and icy divine runes instantly bloomed, condensing into a crystal arrow. Kill! A breath's time was enough to do a lot of things. Murong Xiuzhen's arrow almost completely froze the entire space. The moment he merged with the ancient superior grade combat weapon was the most powerful moment of the longbow combat weapon. It even surpassed the level of Long Yu's Netherworld Dragon Blade, not to mention that it was performed by a 1-star Emperor. One arrow pierced through the young man's throat. The ice arrow instantly pierced through the throat of the young man, causing him to lose all signs of life while he was in a state of shock. When Long Yu saw this scene, his heart calmed down. It was finally over, however. Murong Xiuzhen didn't relax at all. He warned in a deep voice, "Be careful, boy. The people of the Symbol clan have strong vitality. The purple blood in their bodies can heal their injuries at the fastest speed. Even if their heads are chopped off, they can still recover." What? Hearing this, Long Yu was shocked. Then, he saw the wound on the young man's throat begin to heal at an extremely fast speed. 9 Serenity's deterrence. Without hesitation, Long Yu performed the 9 serenities deterrence again. Unfortunately, the duration of the 9 serenities deterrence would be reduced by at least half. This was only enough time for Murong Xiuzhen to shoot the last arrow. An icy arrow once again pierced through the young man's heart. This arrow directly blew up the opponent's heart. This scene was simply shocking. If the opponent still didn't die, Long Yu couldn't think of any other way to kill him. Could it be that the people of the Symbol clan were all invincible? This was obviously impossible. It was just that the people of the Symbol clan had comprehended some kind of divine rune, which made their recovery ability extremely terrifying. Chapter 934. It turned out that no one was invincible. Even the mysterious Symbol clan members could be killed. The regeneration ability of the purple blood in their bodies would become weaker and weaker in a short period of time. If the head was cut off, the other party could rely on the purple blood to reattach it and continue to live. If the heart was shattered a second time, the other party could also rely on the purple blood to completely regenerate. However, if the head was shattered a third time, the other party could no longer be resurrected. The regeneration ability of the purple blood could not be repeated in a short period of time. This gave Murong Xiuzhen an opportunity. He shot 3 frost arrows in a row. All of them were Emperor Realm technique. Their destructive power was definitely more than 100 times stronger than Long Yu's Royal Path techniques. After killing the young man of the Symbol clan 3 times in a row, the young man could no longer be regenerated. His entire body began to melt and was gradually annihilated. You actually killed him. On the other side, the charming woman's face was filled with vicious anger. She stared at Long Yu and Murong Xiuzhen as her body shone with a purple light. Is she not the young man's life and death contract? Upon seeing this, Long Yu instantly frowned. Otherwise, if the young man was killed, wouldn't the enchanting woman die as well? No, they did sign a life and death contract. However, the young man is not completely dead yet. Before the purple blood in his body is used up, he will never be truly dead. Murong Xiuzhen explained with a solemn expression. Of course, that guy won't be able to hold on for long. His whole body was shot into pieces by me. I'm afraid he can only hold on for 3 breaths. However, something happened during these 3 breaths. As long as the young man died, the charming woman would also die. However, before the young man died, the charming woman still had 3 breaths to use some technique. You killed a member of the Symbol clan. You will die a horrible death. You will be suppressed in the holy pond of the Symbol clan forever and be devoured by evil spirits. Following the charming woman's words, 2 rays of purple light swept towards Long Yu and Murong Xiuzhen. This seemed to be a type of curse, and Long Yu's heart shook. He immediately circulated the deathly qi around his body, wanting to weaken the violet light. However, he discovered that the weakening effect of the death aura entanglement was ineffective against this purple cursed light. Not only that, Long Yu couldn't find the weakness of this purple cursed light at all even when he used the 5th level of the balanced control technique. In just a moment, the purple curse light was about to bombard Long Yu's body. Right at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Long Yu in a flash, blocking his path. He actually managed to block the purple curse light for Long Yu. It was Murong Xiuzhen. Elder Murong. Long Yu's expression changed slightly. He didn't expect Murong Xiuzhen to block the curse light for him. Could it be that he had a way to remove this curse? Boy, don't say any more. If you are cursed, you will be chased by the Symbol clan for the rest of your life. Your potential is far greater than this. Naturally, I won't watch you die in the hands of that group of people. Murong Xiuzhen's figure floated in front of Long Yu. His voice was filled with a hint of desolation. However, once the Z-Fan curse is unleashed, it is impossible to block it, unless someone else bears it for you. In any case, I've already been cursed. Being cursed again won't make much of a difference. Only now did Long Yu realize that the purple light was actually a kind of curse technique. From the sounds of it, it seemed to be a kind of secret tracking technique. It could forever mark the location of the target, and then make all the cultivators of the Z-Fan tribe start to hunt down and kill them. This method could be said to be extremely powerful. If Long Yu was cursed by Z-Fan, other people of the Symbol clan might soon come to kill him. With Long Yu's current strength, he definitely couldn't resist it. Since Murong Xiuzhen is quite close to the charming woman, he was directly hit by the Z-Fan curse. However, he saw the charming woman release 2 Z-Fan curses, so his body flashed and blocked the purple curse light beam shooting towards Murong Xiuzhen. In this way, both curses were concentrated on Murong Xiuzhen. Seeing this scene, the charming woman was so angry that she almost vomited blood. She never thought that someone would run out and take the initiative to be cursed by Z-Fan. In this way, wouldn't she not be able to completely avenge the young man? Although she could kill this old guy, she couldn't kill the kid who interfered. However, as the young man's vitality was completely cut off, the charming woman didn't have another chance to cast Z-Fan's curse. A shadow of netherworld divine characters descended from the sky and completely enveloped her. Then, the power of the life-death contract annihilated it into endless nothingness. Even the regeneration effect of the purple blood couldn't resist it. In the hall, only Long Yu and Murong Xiuzhen were left. In addition, Shi Yenwu was still hiding in the dark. In the corner of the hall, there was an elder of the Alliance of 5 Emperors who was healing. He was also Murong Xiuzhen's companion. Elder, this, Long Yu looked at Murong Xiuzhen in front of him. He didn't expect that Murong Xiuzhen would do this for him. He actually blocked Z-Fan's curse for him. Don't say any more. Now that I am cursed by Z-Fan, my life is in danger. I'm afraid I can't say anything more to you. Murong Xiuzhen turned his head and revealed a smile on his amiable face. Kid, your talent is not bad. This elder is looking forward to the day when you will avenge me. As for who the Symbol clan is, they come from beyond the heavens. They are one of the forces from beyond the heavens. This time, many forces from beyond the heavens also sent people to the Netherworld Palace. That's why these things happened. As long as a cultivator has reached the level of a 1-star emperor, there is a space channel built by someone later that can directly lead to the 4th palace. Although I don't know how you came here, you have to be careful no matter what. Murong Xiuzhen said with a serious expression. Directly lead to the 4th palace? Only now did Long Yu know why the other party was faster than him. In other words, it was completely impossible for him to collect all the netherworld crystals. What about the 5th and 6th palace? As long as one is a 1-star emperor or a 3-star emperor, can they directly enter? Long Yu couldn't help but ask. In any case, it was impossible for the people of the Symbol clan to find them so quickly. Therefore, Long Yu and Murong Xiuzhen could still talk more. No, the external channel can only lead to the 4th palace. If you want to go to the other palaces, you can only enter from the main hall of the 4th palace. Opening a channel directly to the 4th palace is something that a great leader of a force from beyond the heavens can do. King's Path Secret Realm or even Emperor level cannot do such a thing. Murong Xiuzhen shook his head. Hearing this, Long Yu knew why the Death Messenger didn't know about the existence of this transmission channel. It was because this transmission channel was created by someone from beyond the heavens. The Death Messenger had never been here, so of course he didn't know about it. Boy, promise me, when you have the strength, you must avenge me. Murong Xiuzhen's eyes revealed a touch of desolation. Being haunted by Z-Fan's curse, I almost have no chance to live. You won't see me in the future. These 2 people of the Symbol clan dared to openly break the rules and want to rob my things. Even if this elder dies, I will drag them down with me. Are all the people of the Symbol clan so evil? Long Yu asked. Most of them are. The Symbol clan is notorious in beyond the heavens. Relying on the immortal secret method, they bully and loot everywhere. They are despised by the forces from beyond the heavens. Murong Xiuzhen said hatefully. If it weren't for the strength of the Symbol clan's leader being too strong, this force would have been eliminated long ago. It would have never survived until today. Elder, if this Zifan's curse is just a tracking technique, then you might not necessarily die, Jiangchen said. Long Yu suddenly thought of something and put forward a suggestion. Why don't you open your mind and let me examine your body? Maybe I can help you remove this curse? Don't waste your effort. Murong Xiuzhen turned around and patted Long Yu's shoulder with a smile. The blood of those who are cursed by Zifan will gradually turn purple, and they will emit a special smell. Ordinary people can't smell it, but the people of the Symbol clan can feel it even if they are separated by several micro-worlds. They will send the strongest hunter of the Symbol clan to hunt down the cursed person. You should know that the Zifan's curse can only be used by the people of the Symbol clan when they are about to die. Being cursed by Zifan means that you are the enemy of the Symbol clan, and they will not let you go. Long Yu frowned slightly. If that was the case, he indeed had no way to remove the Zifan's curse. He didn't have much confidence in the first place, but he wanted to give it a try. Wouldn't it be a happy ending if he succeeded? However, when he thought about the Zifan's curse, which was passed down by a supreme expert, how could it be broken by a mere Emperor Realm martial cultivator? Long Yu wanted to rely on the divine characters of 9 Nether that he had comprehended, but the power of these characters had no effect on removing the curse. In the end, Long Yu gave up. Alright, let's leave this place quickly. Maybe the people of the Symbol clan will come after us after a while. Murong Xiuzhen told Long Yu to leave quickly. Oh right, Senior Elder, do you have some 9 nether crystals on you? I need them. If you have them, can you give them to me? Long Yu asked solemnly. Murong Xiuzhen was a man who was waiting for death. Of course, he wouldn't refuse such a request. He directly handed a spatial ring to Long Yu. Everything is in this spatial ring. There are a total of 9 nether crystals inside. Hurry up and leave. Murong Xiuzhen handed the spatial ring to Long Yu and waved his hand, urging Long Yu to leave quickly. Thank you, Elder. Long Yu's heart sank, but he nodded. He knew that if he left now, it could be said that he and Murong Xiuzhen would be separated forever. Moreover, only he and Shi Yengwu would know what happened here. Chapter 935. Long Yu had always been a decisive person. Even though Murong Xiuzhen had blocked Zifan's curse for him, which was a kindness that was difficult to repay, he still did not stay with Murong Xiuzhen. If Long Yu had enough strength, he would definitely not have done this. However, the Symbol clan was a force that came from beyond the heavens. It was definitely an existence that Long Yu could not contend against. If he insisted on contending against them, only death would await him. It should be known that even if the Jiuyo Dragon Emperor was still alive, he might not necessarily be comparable to the leaders of those major forces, let alone the half-baked Long Yu. Long Yu kept the spatial ring that Murong Xiuzhen handed over, then left with Shi Yengwu and walked towards the nearest main palace. He checked the spatial ring, and sure enough, there were 9 nether crystals, which made him quite surprised. With these 9 nether crystals, it was very likely that he would eventually collect all 45 nether crystals. Murong Xiuzhen's 9 nether crystals must not have been obtained this time, but from 50 years ago, when the 9 nether profound palace was last opened. Therefore, it could make up for some of Long Yu's mistakes. If he missed a few 9 nether crystals, it would not lead to the failure of the final mission. If we want to avenge Elder Murong, we have to complete this mission no matter what. Only by entering the final profound palace will our strength greatly increase. Shi Yangwu's mood was somewhat bad. After all, she had some friendship with Murong Xiuzhen in the past year, and she rather admired this cabinet elder of the alliance of 5 emperors. Now, even though she knew that he would be hunted down by the people of Zifan tribe, she was unable to fight the enemy together with him. Clearly, Sunset Dance was very unhappy. However, she and Long Yu knew when to make a decision. They could not act blindly now. What she was thinking about now was to follow the words of her master, the Death Envoy, and head to the Netherworld Profound Palace to obtain the treasures within. That way, she would be able to increase her strength by a lot, and in the future, it would be possible for her to face the Symbol clan head-on. Although the Death Envoy's description of the 9 Nether Profound Palace was a little off, the deviation wasn't big. It was just that the 9 Nether Profound Palace had an additional passage that led directly to the 4th Nether Palace. This was something the Death Envoy hadn't expected, so Long Yu and Shi Yengu might have missed quite a few 9 Nether crystals. But now, the 9 Nether crystals in the space ring given by Murong Xiuzhen had made up for the shortcomings of the Death Envoy's plan, allowing Long Yu and Shi Yengu to have hope of completing the mission. Very soon, Long Yu and Shi Yengu found the closest palace to the 4th Nether Palace. As expected, there were no more 9 Nether crystals in this palace. However, the two of them weren't disappointed, because they had already expected this situation. There must be many Emperor-level cultivators in the 4th Nether Palace. There are most likely no more 9 Nether crystals in the 4 main palaces. Shi Yengu said to Long Yu, "Are we going directly to the 5th Nether Palace?" "Wait a moment." However, Long Yu shook his head. He didn't make a decision immediately. Up until now, he had walked to 2 of the 4th Nether Palace's main palaces. He hadn't gone to the other 2 palaces, so he couldn't be sure if there were no more 9 Nether crystals left in the 4th Nether Palace. He wouldn't take the risk and directly go to the 5th Nether Palace, because what if he was only missing one? Therefore, he planned to first confirm if there were any 9 Nether crystals left in the 4th Nether Palace, then decide if he should go to the 5th Nether Palace or not. As for the method of detection, it was very difficult for others, but for Long Yu, it was only a step away. The secret technique that Senior Death Envoy taught us can sense the aura of the 9 Nether crystals. However, because the 9 Nether crystals have existed in these main palaces for 50 years, even if they have been taken away, we can still feel the aura that is drifting around. Long Yu said to Shi Yengu, "Of course, whether the 9 Nether crystals have been taken away or not, the density of the aura that is being emitted will definitely be different. Right now, we can't judge the difference in the density of the aura from too far away, but as long as I can cultivate balanced control to the 6th stage, I should be able to judge whether the 9 Nether crystals have been taken away or not." This method was something that Long Yu had only just thought of. Before coming to the 9 Nether Palace, Long Yu had never thought that he would encounter such difficulties, so he didn't make too many preparations. But now, it seemed that it would still be difficult to complete the mission just by relying on what the Death Envoy had said. Therefore, he thought of this method on the spot. The main reason was that Long Yu had taken a lot of pills before, and a large portion of the heaven and earth spiritual energy he had absorbed was still stored in the void Nether Dragon Blade, and balanced control was not far from the 6th stage. He had originally prepared to use the stored heaven and earth spiritual energy at the critical moment, but now it finally came in handy. He took out the void Nether Dragon Blade, and directly absorbed the heaven and earth spiritual energy within it, then used it to cultivate the secret martial arts technique, balanced control. Shi Yengu concealed herself at the side, while keeping a lookout for Long Yu. Once she discovered someone else coming, she would immediately inform Long Yu. The speed of cultivating balanced control was not slow. As long as there was enough heaven and earth spiritual energy, it would automatically start to grow, and Long Yu didn't even need to take the initiative to do anything. While cultivating, Long Yu began to think about the secret martial arts technique. Originally, he knew that the Jiuyou Dragon Emperor only knew 3 secret martial arts techniques, but now he had only cultivated one, balanced control, but he didn't know what the other 2 were. The reason was that even the Envoy of Death only knew the balanced control martial arts technique. Of course, the Jiuyou Dragon Emperor wouldn't impart everything to his subordinates, so even the Envoy of Death wouldn't be able to use all of the Jiuyou Dragon Emperor's techniques. And now, Long Yu encountered the secret martial arts technique that other people cultivated. Undying purple blood. This was the secret martial art that the cultivators of the Z-Fan tribe cultivated. This was the secret martial art of the undying purple blood. It could turn the blood in their bodies into purple blood, and this purple blood could be used in many situations. For example, when the man and woman from the Symbol clan were suppressed by Long Yu's 8 trigrams heaven suppressing technique, the power of the undying purple blood erupted, and directly broke through the suppression of the 8 trigrams heaven suppressing technique. Later on, the undying purple blood made their physical bodies even more terrifying. Their physical bodies could be easily destroyed, but the undying purple blood's regenerative ability was extremely strong. Even if one's head was smashed into pieces, the undying purple blood would be able to regenerate a new head. This kind of secret martial arts technique was undoubtedly extremely terrifying, and it was definitely a secret of the Symbol clan. Looks like when everyone masters the Emperor Path mystique in the future, the true deciding factor of victory in a battle will definitely be the secret martial arts technique. Balanced control is very powerful, but compared to the undying purple blood, it's only SOSO. Long Yu's eyes flashed with anticipation. If he could obtain more secret martial arts technique cultivation techniques, then his combat power would truly improve by leaps and bounds. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, all the spiritual chi of heaven and earth stored in the nether dragon blade was absorbed by Long Yu. Then, Long Yu took some other pills, and all the pills that contained spiritual chi of heaven and earth were absorbed. In this way, his balanced control secret martial arts technique had finally achieved a breakthrough. From the 5th level to the 6th level of balanced control, Long Yu had consumed at least the amount of spiritual chi of heaven and earth that was equivalent to 3 unending level transcendent weapons. One could imagine how difficult it was to cultivate a secret martial arts technique. However, if one succeeded in cultivating it, its effects would be extremely terrifying. Just like balanced control, this secret martial arts technique was indispensable to Long Yu's current battles. Another example was the undying purple blood, which was considered the ultimate life-saving technique for the cultivators of the Symbol clan. I've finally achieved the 6th level of balanced control. Now, my ability to sense and control the energy around me has increased to another level. I can now distinguish the changes in energy that are 10 times weaker. Long Yu opened his eyes and immediately began to sense the aura of the condensed 9 nether crystals around him. At this moment, when he cultivated balanced control to the 6th level, his ability to sense finally achieved a breakthrough. Long Yu could sense the energy changes that were 10 times more subtle than before. The 3rd main palace, none. The 4th main palace, none. Long Yu quickly sensed the situation in the other 2 main palaces. Even now, he could sense the distribution of many cultivators in the surroundings. As long as the others did not deliberately conceal their aura, Long Yu would be able to easily detect their location. Let's go to the 5th palace. Long Yu called out to Shi Yenwu, then led her straight through the spatial whirlpool and stepped into the 5th palace. When he cultivated balanced control to the 6th level, Long Yu's ability to conceal his aura became 10 times stronger. In other words, if the 3-star Emperor could sense Long Yu's presence before, now it would take at least 10 times stronger than the 3-star Emperor to sense Long Yu's aura. Due to the concealment of balanced control, the changes in Long Yu's aura were extremely weak, just like a gust of wind. Ordinary cultivators would not be able to detect him at all. According to the Death Envoy, I'm now in the late Emperor realm, and I've cultivated balanced control to the 6th level. At least the 5-star Emperor level would be able to sense my presence. Long Yu was even more confident in his next move. However, he was still a little worried. After all, he did not know if there were any cultivators above the 5-star Emperor level who had entered the 9 Nether Palace. At the level of the Shun Wu world, Long Yu was not worried at all. This was because the Death Envoy had sensed the aura of the 5 emperors from afar and deduced that the strongest Saint Emperor among the 5 emperors was only the 3-star Emperor level. In other words, now that Long Yu had grasped the 6th level of balanced control, if he wanted to conceal himself, even a Saint Emperor would not be able to find him. Chapter 936. The result of Long Yu's exploration was not bad. There were a total of 5 main halls in the 5th palace, and 4 of them had 9 nether crystals that were still there and had not been taken away. This could be said to be very lucky. He immediately flew towards the nearest main hall with Shi Yengu. At the same time, he activated the fan combat weapon to double his and Shi Yangwu's flying speed. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Long Yu and Shi Yengu arrived at the first main hall of the 5th palace and directly took away the 9 nether crystals. An hour later, the 2 of them took away the 9 nether crystals in the second main hall. The number of 9 nether crystals that they had accumulated had reached 17. The 2 of them concealed themselves. During this period, they saw many Emperor-level martial cultivators killing the black fog life forms in the 5th palace in an attempt to improve their martial arts realm. These people were at least 2-star Emperor level. There were even some young 1-star Emperor with outstanding strength who had killed 2-star Emperor-level black fog life forms in the 5th palace. After walking through 2 main halls, Long Yu encountered 3 batches of such martial cultivators. There were a total of 6 people, all of whom he had never heard of or seen before. It seemed that they were all cultivators from beyond the heavens. The opening of the 9 nether palace seems to be a very good opportunity for the cultivators from beyond the heavens. Long Yu thought to himself, making his next actions even more cautious. Long Yu and Sunset Dance moved very quickly. When they arrived at the 3rd palace, they found that there were still other martial cultivators fighting with the black fog lifeforms. When they arrived at the 3rd palace, they found other martial cultivators fighting with the black fog lifeforms. However, to Long Yu's surprise, the 2 martial cultivators here did not take away the 9 nether crystals in the main hall. They even turned a blind eye to them. For safety's sake, Long Yu and Shi Yengu hid at the side for a while. They found that the 2 martial cultivators were using the power of the 9 nether divine language, which surprised them. It's the 9 nether divine language. Are these 2 related to the Geo Dragon Emperor? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He thought of the dreams he had when he first came to this world. He had seen a place called the 9 nether tribe many times. The martial cultivators of the 9 nether tribe all comprehended the power of the 9 nether divine language. Could these 2 be from the 9 nether tribe? In Long Yu's dream, the 9 gloom tribe was still a force within Shen Wu world. But from the looks of it now, the 9 gloom tribe might have already reached outer space. No matter what, Long Yu had no intention of coming out to greet the other party. It was not only because he was uncertain of the other party's attitude, but also because Long Yu did not want to expose his existence. Right now, he was only at the late stage of Emperor realm. It was far too suspicious for him to appear in the 5th nether palace. Most importantly, Long Yu and Shi Yengu wouldn't be able to resist or even escape if the other party had any malicious intent. If the other party didn't pay attention to them, they wouldn't be able to discover him and Shi Yengu. However, once the other party knew of their existence, they could easily be deduced by the other party. Experts who had reached the Emperor realm were able to comprehend the power of divination. This was the biggest difference between Long Yu and the Emperor realm expert. The good news was that there were almost no people from Shen Wu world in the 5th palace, and the 5th palace was on a completely different plane of existence from the other places. So no matter who it was from Shen Wu world, they wouldn't be able to deduce anything about Long Yu. The speed at which those 2 second-star Imperial monarchs killed the living beings in the black mist was extremely terrifying. In merely the time for an incense stick to burn, they'd annihilated over 100 living beings in the hall, and then they didn't even look back as they left the hall. They really didn't plan on taking the 9 nether crystals. Long Yu was quite surprised to see this. However, since they had left, there was no need for him to be polite and put the 9 nether crystals away. This way, he now had a total of 18 9 nether crystals. After obtaining this 9 nether crystal, the two of them continued to fly towards the last palace in the 5th palace that still had a 9 nether crystal. After another hour, the two of them obtained all 4 9 nether crystals in the 5th palace and entered the 6th palace through the main palace. In the 6th palace, the black fog life forms that appeared were all terrifying existences at the level of the 3-star Emperor, so any one of them could easily crush Long Yu and Shi Yengu to death. In other words, from now on, Long Yu and Shi Yengu couldn't show themselves at all, because if they did, they would most likely die. The 6th palace. There are still 5 9 nether crystals left. Long Yu came here to investigate and couldn't help but be surprised. From the looks of it, the people from beyond the sky weren't very interested in the 9 nether crystals. After all, to normal people, the 9 nether crystals were only tools to allow normal martial cultivators to fuse with shadow element divine runes, so there wasn't much meaning to it. Instead of spending so much effort to seize the 9 nether crystals, it was better to find a place to kill the black fog life forms and absorb the heaven and earth spiritual chi. This way they could improve themselves more. This completely benefited Long Yu. In this case, the real difficulty would only be in the 8th and 9th palace, because in the 8th and 9th palace, Long Yu alone wouldn't be able to hide from the black fog life forms that were at the level of the 6-star Emperor and 7-star Emperor. In this case, he would need Shi Yangwu's help. Shi Yengu had also cultivated the balanced control secret technique, so she could help to conceal their aura. This was also the key reason why Long Yu wanted to act together with Shi Yengu. Without Shi Yangwu's help, Long Yu wouldn't be able to move an inch in the 8th and 9th palace. However, with Shi Yangwu's help, the two of them could hide from the black fog life forms that were at the level of the 6-star Emperor and 7-star Emperor. Now, the two of them walked through the 6th palace while hiding. In less than 10 hours, they had walked through the 5 main palaces and obtained 5 9 nether crystals. Then, the two of them stepped into the 7th palace directly. There are 3 more palaces. There were a total of 24 9 nether crystals in the 3 palaces. I wonder how many are left. Long Yu calculated for a moment and said, however, we have already obtained 24 9 nether crystals, so we only need 21 more. The good news was that Long Yu checked and found that the 7 9 nether crystals in the 7th palace were still there. This was undoubtedly good news. Although they had Murong Xiuzhen's 9 9 nether crystals, Long Yu was still worried that there wouldn't be enough 9 nether crystals in the end. But now it seemed that there wouldn't be a problem. Moreover, along the way, he noticed that the deeper he went into the secluded palace, the fewer martial cultivators there were. He had practically walked through the entire 6th secluded palace, yet he had only seen 2 groups of people, a total of 4 4-star Imperial Monarch Realm cultivators from outer space. A 4-star Emperor was a level that far surpassed Shen Wu World. Even the strongest cultivator of Shen Wu World, the head of the 5 emperors, the Saint Emperor, was only at the level of the 3-star Emperor. Of course, Long Yu didn't dare to show himself. He could only go with Shi Yengu, take the 9 nether crystals and leave. During this period, the two of them also encountered 2 experts from the Zifan tribe. The other party was unable to discover the 2 of them. At this time, Long Yu was quite glad. Fortunately, Murong Xiuzhen helped him block Zifan's curse. Otherwise, he would have been dead by now. Thinking of Murong Xiuzhen, Long Yu's mood became very bad. However, with his current strength, he couldn't do anything. He could only firmly complete the task given by the Death Envoy. As long as they could enter the final profound palace, Long Yu and Shi Yengu would have a great harvest. This was what the Death Envoy had personally said. However, the Death Envoy didn't say what they would harvest, leaving the two in suspense. This made Long Yu very much look forward to it. The Death Envoy had once said that Long Yu would have a great harvest from the wreckage of the Sufferer's small world. In the end, Long Yu obtained hundreds of super pills that surpassed the level of Shen Wu world. Therefore, Long Yu trusted the Death Envoy's words. The main thing was that the Death Envoy had no motive to deceive Long Yu. After all, the Death Envoy was already dead, and only his remnant consciousness was left. No matter what, he couldn't be resurrected. Moreover, if the Death Envoy wanted to trick Long Yu, he would have already done so. There was no need for him to wait until now. In the 7th palace, Long Yu and Shi Yengu moved forward at their fastest speed. Their figures were concealed, and they weren't discovered by anyone else. They took away 9 nether crystal after another. While moving in the 7th palace, the two didn't see many martial cultivators from beyond the heavens. This was because the 7th palace was too big. Not only was it complicated, but every palace was three-dimensional. There were a total of 6 exits. If one didn't have a sense of direction, they wouldn't be able to find the entrance to the 8th palace no matter how hard they tried. Fortunately, Long Yu was able to sense the aura of 9 Nether's condensed crystal through the balanced control and the secret technique that the Death Envoy had imparted to him. He was able to easily find the location of the main palace, which was located among the countless secondary palaces. Thus, he was able to precisely retrieve the condensed crystal. One day later, all 9 nether crystals from the 7th palace were in his hands. Long Yu now had a total of 9 nether crystals on him. With only 14 left to reach his final goal, Long Yu was full of confidence as he and Shi Yengu stepped into the 8th palace. As soon as they stepped into the 8th palace, a black fog lifeform that had reached the level of the 6-star Emperor noticed them and charged towards them at a terrifying speed. Seeing that, Long Yu and Shi Yengu didn't hesitate at all. The two of them used balanced control together to conceal their presence. Chapter 937. In the 8th palace, Long Yu and Shi Yengu concealed themselves and walked through the palace. They went to one main palace after another and took away the 9 nether crystals. What made Long Yu rather happy was that out of the 8 main palaces in the 8th palace, only one of the main palaces had its 9 nether crystals taken away. The other 7 main palaces still had their 9 nether crystals. The terrain of the 8th palace was much more complicated than the previous 7 palaces. Even Long Yu and Shi Yengu could clearly feel the aura of the 9 nether crystals, but they could still take the wrong path and waste some time. This also meant that those who could reach this level were all extremely lucky, powerful, and fast cultivators. Long Yu and Shi Yengu had yet to see other cultivators in the 8th palace. They could only feel from afar that there were fewer battle waves in the 8th palace than in the previous 7 palaces. It could be seen that there were fewer people here. This was of course a good thing for Long Yu. He didn't want to meet other forces from beyond the heavens now. After all, his cultivation was too low. Once the other party had any bad thoughts, Long Yu would be in big trouble. Long Yu and Shi Yengu walked through the 7 main palaces of the 8th palace in a day. However, when they arrived at the last main palace, they found that the 9 nether crystals had been taken away by other cultivators not long ago. In the 8th palace, Long Yu had obtained a total of 9 nether crystals. Adding the 31 from before, he had a total of 38 9 nether crystals. In the end, he only needed 8 more crystals to reach his goal. Immediately after, Long Yu and Shi Yengu worked together to perform balanced control, further concealing all their auras. Then, they stepped into the 9th palace. This was the last known stop of the entire 9 nether profound palace. No one knew that there was a final profound palace after this. There definitely won't be anyone from Shen Wu world here. If Long Yu sees anyone, they'll definitely be a combatant from another world force, one whose strength far surpasses the current 5 emperors of Shen Wu world. Long Yu couldn't afford to provoke such an existence. Once they met, Long Yu and Shi Yengu could only cautiously avoid them. Even if the two of them used balanced control to hide their auras, what if the other party really had a way to discover them? After all the people here were from outer space, and no one knew if they had any special means, secret martial arts, or powerful weapons. In the 9th Nether Palace, there are a total of 9 main halls. The 9 nether crystals of the 9 main halls are still there. After observing for a bit, Long Yu quickly came to a conclusion that made him happy. It seems that the 45 9 nether crystals can be gathered, and there's hope for the final profound palace to open. The two of them didn't waste any time and quickly flew towards the nearest main hall, which would take them about half an hour to reach. Another 2 days later. At this time, almost all the cultivators from Shen Wu world were in the 1st, 2nd and 3rd nether palaces looking for the black fog life forms to kill, and all of them found quite a lot. However, these cultivators of Shen Wu world didn't know that starting from the 4th nether palace after the 3rd nether palace, there were also cultivators from outer space who were also hunting the black fog life forms. Both sides were doing the same thing, except that the cultivators from outer space were a bit stronger. Each of them had at least reached the level of a 1-star emperor. At the same time, all the cultivators from Shen Wu world were trying to guess where that brat Long Yu had gone to. There was no trace of Long Yu in the 1st, 2nd and 3rd nether palaces. Because all the martial cultivators in these 3 palaces found it very difficult to deduce Long Yu's whereabouts, so it was obvious that Long Yu wasn't in any of these 3 palaces. Then, where did Long Yu go? And the strange thing was that no one was able to find even a single 9 nether crystal this time. All the 9 nether crystals in the first 3 floors were taken away by Long Yu as fast as he could. Of course, no one else was able to see him, but the black fog life forms in the main hall and the nearby black fog life forms were still there. No one knew who had taken away the crystals condensed by the 9 nether. The forces that held grudges against Long Yu were desperately searching for Long Yu's whereabouts, but to no avail. Of course, they didn't dare to go above the 4th nether palace. Even if someone went above the 4th nether palace and wanted to deduce Long Yu's whereabouts, they wouldn't be able to. Because right now, Long Yu had already stepped into the 9th nether palace. If the cultivators of Shen Wu world were to find out about this, they would be shocked. The 9th nether palace was a place that even the 5 emperors couldn't enter. Even the strongest of the 5 emperors wouldn't be able to withstand it when they reached the 7th or 8th nether palace. Black fog life forms at the level of a 6-star or 7-star emperor were extremely powerful. Too many martial cultivators who overestimated themselves had died in the 9 nether palace. Unbeknownst to anyone, Long Yu and Shi Yengwu had already begun sweeping through the 9 nether crystals in the 9th nether palace. The 1st main hall, the 2nd main hall, the 3rd main hall. Very soon, the 2 of them arrived at the 8th nether palace. As long as they obtained the 9 nether crystals in this main hall, Long Yu would have a total of 45 9 nether crystals. However, in the 8th nether palace, the 2 of them encountered a situation. In the 8th nether palace, there were 4 people in 2 sides facing each other. The atmosphere was extremely tense. On one side was a young man and a young woman. The young woman had delicate features, while the young man was handsome and confident. Both of them were wearing sky-blue robes, and the robes were embroidered with the words Tian-E in large quaint characters. On the other side were 2 middle-aged men in purple robes. From their aura, Long Yu could easily tell that they were from beyond heavens and the Symbol clan. Without a doubt, these 4 people were all at the level of the 7-star emperor. They were only 1 step away from the ruler realm. Any one of them could easily crush Long Yu into pieces. This made Long Yu and Shi Yengwu not dare to move. Originally, Long Yu wanted to turn around and leave, but seeing that the 2 sides were talking while facing each other, he decided to stay and listen in. Long Yu knew very little about the matters of beyond heavens, but from the conversation between the 2 sides, he could clearly learn a lot of things. Tian-E twin cranes, I didn't expect to meet you here. Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road, Hee hee. A thin man from the Symbol clan said with a cackle, I heard that you came to the 9 Nether Black Palace, and I thought that the news was fake. Now, it seems that it's true, and we even met here. The heavens are really on our side. The other man from the Symbol clan was extremely tall and sturdy. Hearing this, he also said with a sinister smile, Tion twin cranes, you once said that you didn't put anyone from the Symbol clan in your eyes. Now I want to see what basis you have to say such word. The so-called Tion twin cranes in front of them were calm in the face of their mockery, as if they didn't put them in their eyes at all. The handsome young man smiled in a carefree manner, then lightly waved the folding fan in his hand, and said indifferently, Don't you Z-Fan tribe people rely on the undying purple blood? If you have the ability, then let's fight to the death. Do you dare or not? The woman with delicate features also giggled. Big Brother Crane Jew is right. I won't interfere in this battle, but the two of you will fight Big Brother Crane Jew alone, regardless of life or death. Do you dare or not? The confidence of the Tion twin cranes surprised Long Yu a little. This man's personality was a bit like him. When provoked, he would immediately fight to the death. Let's see if the other party dared or not. This made Long Yu a little interested in the Tion twin cranes. Just what kind of existences were these two people? The juniors these days are really arrogant and conceited. The thin man from the Symbol clan had a sinister look on his face. Since you want to die, then we'll fulfill your wish. Take this. Since they were enemies, there wasn't much to say. After a few simple words of provocation, the two sides immediately started fighting. As for the woman with delicate features, she really did step back, not having the slightest intention of interfering. As for the man from the Tion twin cranes, he gently waved the fan in his hand, and 2 wind blades directly shot out, sweeping toward the 2 Symbol clan people. The power of the 2 wind blades was completely condensed into one point, and the explosive force was extremely terrifying. Although the momentum wasn't huge, its destructive power was needless to say. The 2 Symbol clan people didn't dare to be careless. Their bodies flashed with purple light, condensing a purple defensive barrier to block the 2 wind blade. The shockwaves caused by the impact of the power impact directly shook the whole area. The power of both sides spread out, causing Long Yu and Shi Yengu to step back subconsciously. A battle between the 7-star emperors, Long Yu thought to himself. He was a little reluctant to leave, but he knew that if he stayed here any longer, he was afraid that he would be affected, and it would be a waste of his time. Although he couldn't get his hands on the 9 Serenities crystals in this main palace, he would go to the last main palace and collect all the 9 Serenities crystals. Only then could Long Yu feel at ease. However, just as he and Shi Yengu turned around to leave, a beautiful woman in a sky-blue robe appeared beside them. A faint and charming laugh was heard. Since you've come here, why are you leaving so quickly? As soon as they heard this voice, Long Yu and Shi Yengu's faces immediately sank. It turned out to be the woman from the Tion twin cranes. Even though both of them had used balanced control to hide their auras, they were still discovered by the other party? Long Yu was shocked. It seemed that the situation was a little troublesome now. He didn't know what the Tion twin cranes were like. Would they have a way to deal with them and find a way to escape? Thinking of this, Long Yu directly showed up with Shi Yengu. Chapter 938. When Long Yu and Shi Yengu took the initiative to appear, the beautiful woman next to them couldn't help but be taken aback. You too, you only have Emperor Realm cultivation, yet you dare to come to the 9th Darkness Palace? Within the 9th Nether Palace, the living beings within the Black Mist were all at the 7th star Imperial Monarch Realm. Not to mention Emperor Realm experts, even Emperor Realm experts couldn't come here. Otherwise, only death would await them. How did these two fellows manage to get here? Which tribe are you from? The beautiful woman was only taken aback for a moment, then immediately asked. It seemed like she wasn't worried at all about her young companion's battle, and was very confident in him. Tribe. Long Yu shook his head. We're not from a tribe, we're from Shen Wu world, we're from the alliance of 5 emperors. This made the beautiful woman even more surprised. You're natives of this small world? Strange, strange. You only have emperor realm cultivation. You must have been in the front hall when you first entered the 9th Darkness Palace, right? From the front hall to the 1st Darkness Palace, all the way to the 9th Darkness Palace. It's such a long distance, yet you've already arrived in 3 to 4 days? I can only say that we're quite lucky. Long Yu could only say that. It seemed like this beautiful woman's personality wasn't bad. At least she didn't seem to have any ill intentions towards him yet. When the beautiful woman heard Long Yu's reply, she looked at him meaningfully. Your luck seems to be too good. From the front hall to the 9th Darkness Palace isn't something that can be reached just by being lucky. Furthermore, you haven't been discovered by anyone or the black fog life forms along the way. This can be considered a miracle. Your concealment method is quite good. It should be some kind of martial arts secret technique. She was right. The reason why the two of them were able to reach here was because they had a balanced control of this martial arts secret technique. However, Long Yu obviously wouldn't admit it. The most important thing right now was to gain the favor of the beautiful woman in front of him and fight for a way out. Don't be fooled by the fact that this woman seemed to be very polite right now. She was merely gathering information. Once she had gathered enough information, or felt that he was useless, it was very likely that she would directly make a move. Therefore, Long Yu directly changed the topic and pretended to be a little nervous as he asked, "How does Senior want to deal with us? We came here by accident and disturbed Senior. Please forgive us." "You don't have to worry." The lady narrowed her eyes. "What are your names? Tell me." The woman's tone was unquestionable. Long Yu and Shi Yengu naturally didn't dare to hide anything. If they revealed their names, they might have a chance of survival. After all, one of them was the champion of this term's King Realm competition, and the other was the champion of this term's Emperor Realm competition. They were both important figures in the alliance of 5 emperors, so perhaps the other party would give them some face. "My name is Long Yu." "My name is Shi Yengu." The two of them answered separately. Long Yu, Shi Yengu. Hearing this, the beautiful woman frowned slightly, but soon relaxed. "I've never heard of your names. As for me, my name is He Shui, and I'm from the Tiani tribe of the Lushan clan." Senior, you don't have to introduce these things." Long Yu was a little embarrassed. Why did she take the initiative to tell him these things? He was afraid that after telling him so many things, she would say that he knew too much. If that happened, he would be doomed. Ha! When the elegant woman, He Shui, saw Long Yu's expression, she couldn't help but cover her mouth and chuckle. "Don't worry, I don't have any ill intentions towards you. After all, I noticed that you had a trace of killing intent towards those 2 fellows from the Zifan tribe, but not towards us. So, the enemy of my enemy is my friend." Deep down, Long Yu was shocked again. When he saw the 4 of them confronting each other, he did have a slight killing intent towards the 2 guys from the Symbol clan. However, he hid it in an instant. He did not expect that the beautiful woman, He Shui, would sense it. Could it be that they were discovered by this woman because of that slight killing intent? After all, this woman had been surprised by their cultivation realms in the beginning, and it was clear that she had been unable to discern their cultivation realms before they had revealed themselves. In that case, the concealment technique of balanced control was quite effective. However, this beautiful woman, He Shui, possessed a rather wondrous detection technique. Long Yu did not expect that the beautiful woman, He Shui, would say something like, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend." However, this was, of course, a good thing for Long Yu. The people from the Zifan tribe once killed a senior of mine. Thus, I have developed killing intent toward them. Unfortunately, with my current strength, it is truly too difficult for me to avenge my senior. Long Yu shook his head and said with a wry smile, The symbol clan is indeed hateful. Hearing this, He Shui raised her eyebrows and asked, You said that the people from the symbol clan killed a senior of yours. Is that a member of the Alliance of Five Emperors? Yes, my senior's name is Murong Xiuzhen. He is one of the cabinet elders of the Alliance of Five Emperors. The other senior is also a good friend of Elder Murong. Long Yu said directly. Thinking of this, Long Yu could not calm down. He did not know how Murong Xiuzhen was now. Was he still on the run, or had he been killed by the people from the symbol clan? No one knew. Hearing this, He Shui sighed. Generally speaking, we, the foreign forces, are not allowed to attack the natives of this small world. I did not expect that the people from the symbol clan would be so despicable. But now you can see my little brother kill those two symbol clan villains. He's alone, will he be fine? Shi Yengu couldn't help but ask. The twin cranes of Tian have never encountered any major problems. He Shui smirked and said confidently, If my little brother can't even kill those two, then he wouldn't be my little brother. In fact, Long Yu was not very interested in the battle. But He Shui had no intention of letting them leave, so they could only stay and watch the battle between Crane Ju and the two middle-aged men from the symbol clan. Moreover, a battle between the seven-star emperors was something that the people of Shen Wu world would never get to see. Right now, Long Yu and Sunset Dance had the pleasure of seeing this. Perhaps they could obtain some martial arts comprehension or something from it. Who knows, but no matter what, the two of them could only stay and watch the battle. As for trying to escape now, that was simply impossible. Seven-star monarch He Shui was directly flying together with the two of them. The two of them had no chance to escape at all. The battle on the battlefield was extremely intense. The young man, He Ju, who was one of the twin cranes in the sky, was fighting two seventh-star imperial monarchs from the Violet Brahma tribe. Both sides were able to cause terrifying and enormous forces to surge against the walls of the entire hall with a wave of their hands, and it was even to the extent that space itself trembled slightly. He Ju's strength was enough to crush the two middle-aged men from the symbol clan. Long Yu had personally witnessed the methods of the symbol clan. It was nothing more than the powerful regenerative effect of the undying purple blood, which made them extremely tenacious. Furthermore, they could activate the undying purple blood and break through certain control method. However, the offensive methods of the people of Zifan tribe were not that powerful. Murong Xiuzhen had been besieged by two one-star sovereign emperors of Zifan tribe, but Murong Xiuzhen had managed to resist them. So, there was no need to mention He Ju, one of the two cranes in the sky. This person was one of the two cranes from the Beyond Heaven world, He Ju. He was definitely much stronger than Murong Xiuzhen, otherwise he wouldn't have the confidence to fight one against two. Even though the battle was intense, even Long Yu was able to discern that He Ju had completely suppressed those two members of the Zifan tribe, and if this were to continue, then it wouldn't be long before He Ju would be able to deal with them. He Ju had used many methods. Aside from the space attribute divine script that was restricted in the Nine Serenities Palace, he had used all the other 7 divine scripts. The radiant divine script condensed into countless light arrows, scattering all over the battlefield. The shadow divine script turned into an evil dragon that chased after the buttocks of one of the cultivators and bit it like a maggot attached to a bone. Every bite was able to tear off a large chunk of flesh from the cultivator. Although the undying purple blood could immediately restore his body, if this continued, his undying purple blood would eventually be used up. The flame divine script and the ice divine script complemented each other, and were the most powerful methods that He Ju had used. Whether it was the flame divine script or the ice divine script, they seemed to be able to destroy everything in the world. The two symbol clan cultivators could only defend themselves, without any strength to counterattack. No matter what method he used, all of them were Emperor Path divine abilities. This was the terrifying aspect of the 7-star Emperor. Correspondingly, although the two symbol clan experts were also 7-star emperors, no matter what kind of emperor path divine abilities they used, they were not as powerful as He-Ju. Therefore, they were completely suppressed by him. Now, kill them! However, just as He-Ju was about to win, the two symbol clan cultivators suddenly erupted with power, each taking out a battle weapon. One of them was a long saber, and the other was a pair of copper hammers. Both were unending grade battle weapons, and the two symbol clan cultivators regarded them as their trump cards. Unending grade battle weapons. These two old dogs have been hiding something. What a pity! Beside Long Yu, He Shui's eyes lit up. She giggled and said, "What a pity! It looks like these two unending grade battle weapons will belong to our first heaven tribe." Even in the outer heavens, unending grade battle weapons were very precious to the tribes and factions in outer heavens. After all, unending grade battle weapons could unleash unimaginable destructive power. If one was lucky, an ordinary king realm cultivator with an unending grade battle weapon could instantly kill a great emperor realm expert. That was the power of unending grade battle weapons. However, He-Ju showed no signs of weakness in the face of the two unending grade battle weapons. Instead, he threw his head back and laughed. "Are you going to use your trump cards? Bring it on." As soon as he finished speaking, an ice seal flew out from He-Ju's chest. As soon as it appeared, it completely sealed and froze all the energy in the surroundings. Long Yu's eyes widened. This guy has a divine absolute beginning grade. Chapter 939. A divine absolute beginning weapon was something that surpassed unbounded fighters. An unbounded warrior was something that cultivators from beyond the heavens could occasionally craft. However, not even cultivators from beyond the heavens could craft a godly grade absolute primordium warrior. All godly grade absolute primordium warriors existed in the world at birth, or were born into the world when someone was born. He-Ju had a divine absolute beginning weapon with the ice attribute, so he was able to unleash the power of divine absolute beginning ice. In the blink of an eye, he was able to suppress the two unbounded fighters from the symbol clan. The divine grade absolute beginning seal that He-Ju utilized was much stronger than the absolute beginning lightning seal that Yi Ziwei utilized. It wasn't just because He-Ju was a 7th-star imperial monarch. It was also because his absolute beginning ice seal had awakened. The awakening of a divine absolute beginning weapon would determine whether or not it could unleash greater power. Once it was awakened, it would be at least 10 times stronger than before. At this moment, Long Yu finally witnessed the true power of a divine absolute beginning weapon. As soon as Crane Ju's God-grade absolute primordium weapon appeared, it completely suppressed the two unbounded battle weapons. Boundless frigid coldness froze the entire area, and the two cultivators from the Z-Fan tribe were slowed to a crawl. In other words, as soon as the God-grade absolute primordium weapon appeared, they were completely immobilized. Under such circumstances, the two symbol clan members could only use their undying purple blood to break through the layer of ice that controlled their bodies. However, the undying purple blood alone wasn't enough to fight back. All they could do was endure the power of the divine absolute beginning weapon. You have a divine absolute beginning weapon. The two members of the Z-Fan tribe had a look of disbelief on their faces as they struggled to resist the attack. The appearance of a divine grade absolute beginning treasure meant that the two of them had no chance of survival. Yeah, what a pity. He-Ju's handsome face broke into a faint smile. From now on, your two unbounded fighters belong to the First Heaven tribe. Long Yu watched the scene unfold in front of him with mixed feelings. He thought about how Yi Ziwei had used the absolute beginning thunder seal in front of so many people. Was that really a good idea? Although others couldn't steal her absolute beginning thunder seal, it couldn't be her trump card anymore. Of course, the people of Shen Wu world had almost no contact with the cultivators of outer sky. Although the people of Shen Wu world had seen Yi Ziwei's absolute beginning lightning seal, they couldn't possibly tell the cultivators of outer sky. In fact, almost no one knew what kind of technique Yi Ziwei used. If they were to be careful from now on, it would be very difficult for the people from beyond the heavens to find out about this. The two members of the Symbol clan knew that they couldn't escape death, so they didn't hesitate to circulate the undying violet blood within their bodies. They utilized all the undying violet blood within their bodies with the intention of placing the violet Buddhist curse on He-Ju. The purple fan curse was a technique that all members of the Symbol clan knew. As long as they cultivated the undying purple blood secret technique, they would be able to activate the undying purple blood in their body and curse the person who killed them, marking their location. Unfortunately, this technique didn't seem to have any effect on the young man from the First Heaven Division, He-Ju. The purple fan curse was placed on He-Ju, but a white light flashed across He-Ju's body. Immediately after, the bewitching purple light around his body disappeared without a trace. First Heaven Division. He-Ju, you will die a horrible death. Seeing this, the two people immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Their eyes were filled with extreme unwillingness as they were completely frozen into two ice sculptures by the endless divine absolute beginning ice technique. He-Ju then raised his hand and released a blue light that directly shattered the two ice sculptures. The two members of the Symbol clan were completely dead. Even the undying purple blood couldn't save them, not to mention the fact that the undying purple blood in their bodies had already been turned into the purple fan curse. Even if the undying purple blood was still in their bodies, they wouldn't be able to regenerate. This was because their bodies had already been completely shattered. Not even ashes were left behind. It seems that there are great differences in the strength of cultivators at the level of the 7-star Emperor. Once you have a divine absolute beginning ice technique, you can easily crush opponents of the same level. That much is clear. Long Yu thought to himself. At the same time, he felt a little nervous. He knew that since the two members of the Symbol clan had been killed, it would be his and Shi Yangwu's turn next. There was no way that the two cranes of the First Heaven Division would spare Long Yu and Shi Yangwu to be friends. Although He Shui had said that enemies of enemies should be friends, Long Yu knew that it was impossible. Even if it was possible, it would only happen when both sides were evenly matched. But now, the two of them could kill Long Yu and Shi Yangwu with a wave of their hands. Under such circumstances, who would go through the trouble of befriending them? Soon, the handsome young man, He-Ju, who had killed the two members of the Symbol clan, laughed heartily. Putting away the two endless grade fighters, he flew over to Long Yu's side. Have the two of you seen enough? He-Ju asked with a smile. There's something I'd like to ask the two of you. You've come all the way from the front hall of the 9th Nether Palace to the deepest part of the 9th Nether Palace. What's your goal? Is there some secret in the 9th Nether Palace that we don't know about? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. So it's here. Most people in the world of cultivation were the type that wouldn't do anything without benefit. If it weren't for benefits, He Shui would have long since killed Long Yu and Shi Yangwu. There was no way she would let them live until now. Trying to hide something? That was impossible. Long Yu didn't need to think to know that if he didn't tell the truth, the other party would never let him go. After all, the gap between their cultivation realms was just too big. Let alone the 7-star Emperor who had a divine grade absolute beginning, even a random 7-star Emperor could squash Long Yu like an ant. Long Yu didn't hesitate and directly said, I do know some secrets related to the 9 Nether Profound Palace. When I was exploring an ancient ruin, I once saw a paragraph saying that as long as you collect 45 9 nether crystals, you will be able to open the final layer of the 9 Nether Profound Palace, which is also the final Profound Palace. His words immediately aroused the interest of He-Ju and He Shui. Clearly, the two of them were very surprised. They hadn't expected Long Yu to reveal this secret so easily. In fact, Long Yu had no other choice. Now that he and Shi Yengu had fallen into the other party's hands, there was absolutely no way they could escape, unless they gave them enough benefits and waited for them to reap the rewards before thinking of a way to escape. After so many days, Long Yu had finally collected 44 9 nether crystals, but he didn't expect that in the end, they would be held hostage by two young geniuses from the sky beyond Division 1. It was easy to imagine that the final harvest of this trip would be taken by these two. However, compared to his own life, Long Yu valued his own life more. Therefore, he could only say such words, hoping that after the other party obtained the benefits, he would have a chance to escape. The final Nether Palace. He Ju and He Shui exchanged glances. They were a little surprised by this phrase. To them, the divine battle world was only a small, abandoned world. To the 9th Nether Palace, they only saw it as a place to kill the black fog lifeforms and improve themselves. They didn't expect that this place would have such a profound mystery. Interesting, it is said that this small world was once the small world of a supreme expert of the Dragon Clan. After this supreme expert of the Dragon Clan died, this small world was directly under the jurisdiction of our human clan. He Ju smiled. Perhaps, in the final Nether Palace of the 9th Nether Palace, there will be many things that will be useful to us. Then let's go take a look. 45 9 nether crystals. He Shui blinked and smiled, looking at Long Yu. You too, how many crystals have you collected so far? My brother and I don't have any of these. There's a total of 44. Including the one in this main palace, we just happened to be able to open the final Nether Palace. Long Yu honestly said. The current him could only wait for the final Nether Palace to open and find a chance to escape. As for the things inside the final Nether Palace, to hell with them. Long Yu wasn't so greedy that he would lose his life. Such a coincidence? He Ju and He Shui were a little happy. Did this mean that they could immediately open the passage to the final Nether Palace? Then what are we waiting for? He Ju smiled, looking at the nervous Shi Yengu and comforting her. You two don't need to worry. I, He Ju, will never attack a woman. If there are indeed many good things inside the final Nether Palace, not only will I let you leave safely, I will also let you choose a few things, so that you won't come here in vain. These words were unexpectedly polite, causing Long Yu and Shi Yengu to have some doubts. Was this guy talking nonsense? Long Yu didn't deny that good people existed in the world of cultivation, but he couldn't expect these two people in front of him to be such good people. No matter what, he had to prepare for the worst. Only then would he be able to guarantee his own survival. Next, Long Yu and Shi Yengu would undoubtedly open the final Nether Palace. The 45 9 nether crystals had already been collected. If they wanted to open the final Nether Palace, they would have to rely on a secret technique taught by the Death Envoy. This secret technique required the cooperation of two people, and could only be carried out by Long Yu and Shi Yengu. Under the supervision of the Heavenly First Division's Heavenly First Crane, He Ju and He Shui, Long Yu and Shi Yengu took out all the 9 nether crystals and threw them into the air, causing them to float in the air and arrange themselves into a specific shape. The final Nether Palace should be opened for the first time in tens of thousands of years. Chapter 940. When the 45 9 nether crystals were gathered together, Long Yu and Shi Yengu joined hands to cast a secret technique, activating all the hidden power within the 9 nether crystals, and making this power resonate with the aura of the 9 nether divine characters around them. Gradually, in the eyes of Long Yu, Shi Yengu, and the two cranes of the Celestial Union, the power emitted by the 45 9 nether crystals gradually formed a pattern in the air. This pattern was impressively a round stone door the size of a person. There was an obvious crack in the center of the round stone door, which meant that this round stone door could be pushed open. The appearance of such a round stone door excited the two cranes of the Celestial Union. Sure enough, there was a chance. The 2 cranes of the Celestial Union had originally come to the 9 Nether Black Palace with the intention of killing some black fog life forms and accumulating some heaven and earth spiritual chi to cultivate the secret technique of the Celestial Division. They did not expect to have such an unexpected harvest. They had heard that the original master of this small world was called Jiuyo Dragon Emperor, who was a ruler-level figure. Such an ancient figure must have hidden quite valuable things, right? For the 2 cranes of the Celestial Union, they already had a divine-grade absolute beginning treasure, so they really did not want any other ordinary things. Who's going to open the door? When Long Yu saw the stone door appear, he asked the 2 cranes of the Celestial Union. Since they had already come this far, and there were no benefits to be gained, he did not want to go in first. What if he encountered some danger as soon as he went in? You go. The young man, He-ju, smiled and waved his hand, signaling for Long Yu to go and open the door. Obviously, this guy also seemed to be afraid that they would encounter some danger after opening the round stone door, so he asked Long Yu to go in first. Long Yu did not refuse. He nodded and flew over. There were advantages to going in first, but there were also advantages to going in later. Since the other party asked him to open the stone door, Long Yu could only obey. If there was something good in there, Long Yu might be able to take it for himself first. Long Yu arrived in front of the circular stone door in the air. He stretched out his hand and pushed the stone door open. He discovered that the stone door was actually not heavy and was easily pushed open by him. This caused Long Yu to feel quite astonished. He then glanced at the stone door and discovered that it was pitch black. Not only was it impossible to see anything with the naked eye, even though balanced control was unable to detect the existence of anything. It was like an endless void. This should be a portal, Long Yu thought to himself. Then, he lifted his foot and stepped into the stone door. This stone door was just big enough for one person to pass through. After stepping through it, all the light in front of Long Yu's eyes instantly disappeared, and his surroundings instantly became pitch black. There was no feeling of spatial teleportation. There was only an endless void, as if there was nothing behind the stone door. In the main hall of 9th Darkness Palace, the 2 cranes in Tian-yi and Shi-Yengu watched as Long Yu stepped through the stone door. They immediately lost sight of Long Yu's figure. Let's go, we'll go in as well. You should come with us. The 2 cranes in Tian-yi were still a little fearful. They pulled Shi-Yengu and the 3 of them stepped through. The elegant woman, He-Shui, was first, then Shi-Yengu followed behind her. After the 3 of them entered, nothing happened. In the end, He-Ju also stepped through, and the 4 of them disappeared from 9th Darkness Palace. This stone door remained in the main hall of 9th Darkness Palace for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. During this time, no one came here. After all, there weren't many cultivators in 9th Darkness Palace, and this was only one of the thousands of halls in 9th Darkness Palace. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the stone door quietly disappeared. Long Yu's group of 4 who had entered also disappeared without a trace. At this moment, Long Yu had already entered a very mysterious state. He stepped through the stone door and came to a pitch-black space of endless nothingness. He floated quietly, unable to sense the existence of anything around him. It was as if this place was just a void with nothing at all. Most importantly, in this state, Long Yu couldn't sense if anyone was following him or not. He stepped through the stone door. This is the final profound palace? Is there nothing here? Long Yu frowned. In this state, even if his willpower was firm, he still felt a trace of anxiety. It could be imagined that in this pitch-black space, he couldn't use any power, couldn't see anything, couldn't feel anything, couldn't hear anything, and couldn't smell anything. It was equivalent to a person losing all perception. No matter who it was, they would definitely feel a little flustered in such a state. But very quickly, Long Yu's flustered feelings disappeared, because he finally felt an extremely weak trace of power coming from an extremely far away place. Although it was just a flash, he still felt it. He didn't hesitate to fly towards the source of the sound. If this was the outside world, then the slight fluctuation of power he felt right now would be equivalent to a butterfly flapping its wings hundreds of miles away. But such a trace of power was felt by Long Yu, and thus attracted Long Yu to fly towards that direction. However, after Long Yu flew in the direction he felt for an hour, he discovered that the faint fluctuation of power was still just a tiny bit. It was as if he wasn't even the slightest bit close to the source of the fluctuation of power. This caused Long Yu to feel quite puzzled in his heart. Right now his state was quite bad, because he didn't know what was going on in this place, or what was inside. However, as time passed, Long Yu's mood calmed down. No matter what, he just needed to fly towards the source of the fluctuation of power. Since the Death Envoy had allowed him to come to this place, then he certainly wouldn't harm him. Even if he didn't trust others, how could he not trust the Death Envoy? Long Yu settled his mind, and continued to fly towards the source of the fluctuation of power. This time, his heart calmed down. Instead, he made an unexpected discovery. The strands of power that he constantly felt did not increase in strength. However, from this strand of power, Long Yu obtained some sort of extraordinary comprehension. This kind of enlightenment was similar to when he had just stepped onto the path of martial arts, and comprehended the laws of heaven and earth of Shen Wu world. That infinitely far-away trace of power seemed to represent some sort of law of the world. Long Yu began to constantly comprehend that trace of power, and his understanding of it was becoming more and more profound. Besides Long Yu, the other people who entered this place, including Shi Yengwu and the twin cranes of Tianyi, were also the same. At first they were quite restless, but soon after they felt that trace of power, they began to calm down and comprehend it. This was the harvest. In the final profound palace, Jiuyo Dragon Emperor didn't seem to have placed any precious treasures, but he left behind a mysterious power that allowed cultivators who came here to comprehend it. 1 day passed. 2 days passed. Unknowingly, half a month had passed since the 4 people comprehended that trace of mysterious power in the final profound palace. In this half a month, without a doubt, the twin cranes of Tianyi had the most profound enlightenment. Whether it was He Ju or He Shui, this man and woman were both at the level of the 7-star Emperor, and they were only a step away from the ruler's mystic realm. If they took this step, they would become true rulers, and their inner world would transform into a miniature world. And the mysterious power hidden in the final profound palace was related to this transformation. To transform one's inner world into a miniature world, one had to comprehend a certain kind of power. This power belonged to the power of creation, and not the power of destruction. Everything in the world was easy to destroy, but creation was difficult. Therefore, to form a miniature world within one's inner body, the most difficult step was to comprehend the power of creation. This kind of power was difficult even for other rulers' mystic realm experts to pass on to their juniors. But now, in the final profound palace left behind by Jiuyo Dragon Emperor, this kind of power of creation had appeared for Long Yu and the others to comprehend. It's this kind of power, right? I didn't expect to have such an unexpected harvest in this miniature world. I should thank that friend called Long Yu. He Ju, who was in the middle of comprehending, couldn't help but sigh. When he first stepped into the final profound palace, he couldn't find anyone else, but he quickly comprehended this trace of power of creation. In this half a month, he continuously comprehended this trace of power of creation, and his inner world began to transform. As long as he took this step, he would break through from the 7-star Emperor and directly become a ruler's mystic realm expert. One had to know that even in the entire First Heaven Division, the number of rulers' mystic realm experts could be counted. Every ruler's mystic realm expert could leave their name on the First Heaven Division's clan stele. Before stepping into the ruler's mystic realm, no matter how outstanding one was, it was impossible to be remembered by the world. Only by stepping into the ruler's mystic realm could one leave their name in history. After stepping into the ruler's mystic realm, one's inner world would transform into a miniature world, and the miniature world would become another place for the human race to live and multiply. It was equivalent to the human race gaining another paradise. The young man, He-Ju, had unexpectedly comprehended the power that allowed him to break through after entering the final profound palace because of Long Yu. This was something that no one had expected. He-Ju had been searching for this kind of power for 3 years, but he hadn't made any progress. Even with his talent, the elders of the First Heaven Division had discussed that it would take at least 10 years before he could take the last step and become a ruler's mystic realm expert. But no one had expected that He-Ju would unexpectedly find the opportunity to break through. Chapter 941. Of course, Long Yu didn't know that his action of searching for the final profound palace had given He-Ju and He-Shui, 2 peerless geniuses of the First Division, an opportunity to break through. Other than He-Ju, his sister He-Shui also obtained a similar comprehension in the final profound palace. The nature of the inner world in her dantian gradually changed as she comprehended, and it became closer to becoming a miniature world. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. The Divine Battle God World's Martial God Conference was more than half done, and it would soon be time to challenge the 5 emperors. No one knew that at this time, in the deepest part of the 9 Nether Profound Palace, someone was breaking through to the sovereign's secret realm in the final Profound Palace. He-Ju and He-Shui were existences at the level of the 7-star Emperor, and their comprehension of the power of creation was extremely fast. In just half a month, they had grasped a significant amount of the power of creation. Both of them could feel that the day of their breakthrough was not far away. Even if they left the final profound palace now and went into secluded cultivation, they would be able to step into the sovereign's secret realm within a year. As for Shi Yengu and Long Yu, their comprehension of the power of creation wasn't as fast. After all, their cultivation wasn't high, and they were far from the sovereign's secret realm. However, after half a month of comprehension, the 2 of them experienced an indescribable change in their inner world. When the 2 of them reached the level of the 7-star Emperor in the future, the difficulty of breaking through to the sovereign's secret realm would be many times lower than ordinary people. The Divine Martial Emperor Conference was in full swing. Different from the previous Divine Martial Emperor Conferences, there were 2 extremely powerful peak Emperor realm experts in this year's Divine Martial Emperor Conference. In other words, they were experts at the level of the Emperor realm. One of them was an elegant woman with beautiful features. She came from a big family in the holy city of the 5 emperors, and she was the patriarch of that big family. Her strength had actually reached the level of a 2-star emperor, and she had emerged victorious in the elimination round. There was another person, an old man with big ears. When this old man appeared, many people recognized him. Wasn't this guy the expert who had challenged the Red Emperor a long time ago and was seriously injured by the Red Emperor? Who would have thought that after 100 years, the big-eared old man would make a comeback and actually have the strength to challenge the 5 emperors? This person's martial arts realm had actually reached the level of the 3-star emperor. Of course, the majority of Shenwu World's people don't really know about the 7-star emperor's level, they only know that there are strong and weak emperors. And now, the big-eared old man looked very powerful. If he challenged the Red Emperor like he did 100 years ago, he might very well drag the Red Emperor down from his high horse. The 2 most crucial rounds of the Conference of God Martial Emperors were about to arrive. They were the challenge from the elegant woman, and the challenge from the big-eared old man. The 2 of them had gone through many rounds of elimination to reach this step, obtaining the right to challenge one of the 5 emperors. Each of them could only challenge one of the 5 emperors. As long as they defeated the 5 emperors, they would be able to replace the loser and become one of the new 5 emperors. If they lost, they naturally wouldn't have any more chances. In the previous conferences of God Martial Emperors, no one had been able to defeat the 5 emperors. After all, the 5 emperors were too strong. But this time's situation was different. If Long Yu was here, he would realize that the big-eared old man actually had a disciple, and that disciple was also from the Shura Prefecture's Tianxing River. Tianxing River's current mood was undoubtedly surging. His master was about to become one of the new 5 emperors, and he knew that his master was going to challenge the Red Emperor, who was also Long Yu's master. Tianxing River recalled the time when he chose to admit defeat to Long Yu during the Strongest King Realm competition. He was extremely unwilling. Now, if his master were to drag the Red Emperor down from his high horse and become one of the new 5 emperors, then he would undoubtedly regain all of his face. The 5 emperors had not been replaced for over 100 years. Now, it was finally time for a replacement. The elegant woman first announced that she wanted to challenge the Red Emperor. The Red Emperor would fight, and both sides engaged in a fierce battle in the front hall of the 9 Serenities Palace. This battle attracted the attention of countless cultivators from Shen Wu world. At the same time, there were also some cultivators from beyond the heavens who mixed in with the crowd to watch the battle. After all, the conference of God Martial Emperors and the selection of the 5 emperors had a certain relationship with some forces from beyond the heavens. As for why the elegant woman chose the Red Emperor, it wasn't because the Red Emperor was the weakest among the 5 emperors, but because the Red Emperor was the oldest among the 5 emperors, and also the most qualified one. Very few people were able to witness a battle between combatants at the level of the 5 emperors, so all of the cultivators present were paying close attention to this battle. The elegant woman fought against the Red Emperor. The battle between both sides didn't cause any sparks in the front hall of the 9 Serenities Palace, but everyone knew that the power of their battle was unimaginable. If it weren't for the barrier that the 5 emperors had jointly set up, the majority of the spectators would have been caught in the shockwaves. The battle lasted for more than a day. In the end, the Red Emperor won against the elegant woman with a slight advantage and managed to hold onto the position of the 5 emperors. When the result of the battle was announced, some people cheered while others sighed. The cheering was because they had a good impression of the Red Emperor. If the Red Emperor was one of the 5 emperors, then many of the policies of Shen Wu world would be taken care of for people like them. As for the sighing, of course, it was the elegant woman's family, as well as a few cultivators who wanted to see the world in chaos. These cultivators weren't interested in who the 5 emperors were, but they wanted to see some exciting results. Losing against the 5 emperors was obviously not a result that these people expected. But after that, everyone had even more expectations for the large-eared old man. After all, during the elimination round, the large-eared old man had fought against the elegant woman and defeated her. Now that the Red Emperor defeated the elegant woman, he only had a slight advantage. Then if the large-eared old man fought against the Red Emperor, wouldn't they be evenly matched? This was the kind of battle that everyone wanted to see. In Shen Wu world, the strong were respected. This saying was definitely true. Whoever was stronger would become the 5 emperors. This saying was definitely not a joke. After resting for 2 days, the large-eared old man's battle against the Red Emperor began. This battle was obviously a fated one. 100 years ago, when the large-eared old man was still a large-eared middle-aged man, he had already challenged the Red Emperor. Unfortunately, the gap between him and the Red Emperor was too big, so he was directly defeated by the Red Emperor and had to leave with heavy injuries. Now, the large-eared middle-aged man had become the large-eared old man, but his strength had improved a lot compared to 100 years ago. Even the 5 emperors could see that he was already at the level of the 3-star emperor. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, the Red Emperor finally appeared. Zhang Kuanga, so you still showed up. I didn't think you'd be this strong. I'm afraid I'm no longer your match. the Red Emperor appeared, glanced at the large-eared old man and smiled amiably. 100 years ago, the large-eared old man was heavily injured and defeated by the Red Emperor. Now that he had returned to challenge the Red Emperor after 100 years, he obviously had a lot to say, but was choked by the Red Emperor's words. Originally, he thought that the Red Emperor would rather die than admit defeat, and then both sides would fight. Who would have thought that the Red Emperor would directly admit that he was no match for Zhang Kuanga? Could it be that the Red Emperor wanted to directly admit defeat? Zhang Kuanga coldly snorted. Since you said that you're no match for me, then why don't you quickly admit defeat? However, if you admit defeat just like that, as one of the 5 emperors, wouldn't you lose your reputation at the last moment and not even dare to fight? Wouldn't you become a laughing stock if word of this got out? If that's the case, then come at me. 100 years ago, I didn't mean to injure you, so it's understandable that you want revenge. The Red Emperor smiled amiably. However, if you want to injure me, it's not that easy. Make your move. The large-eared old man Zhang Kuanga did not speak any nonsense, and immediately blasted a burst of divine runes of Berserker towards the Red Emperor. An ancient transcendent combat weapon appeared in his hand, and he directly smashed it towards the Red Emperor. The Red Emperor's strength was naturally not to be underestimated. Facing such a situation, he raised his hand and used an imperial divine ability, blasting away the opponent's ancient transcendent combat weapon. This time, both sides fell into a fierce battle. Everyone in the surroundings was attracted by this battle. The result of this battle would determine whether there would be a new 5 emperors in the next 50 years. What surprised many people was that the entire battle was just like what the Red Emperor had said. The large-eared old man Zhang Kuanga was actually able to continuously suppress the Red Emperor. It was not that the Red Emperor had too few tricks up his sleeves, but the large-eared old man's basic strength seemed to be a lot stronger than the Red Emperor's. Even if they were to use the same Imperial Divine ability, the Red Emperor's Imperial Divine ability was slightly inferior to the large-eared old man's. 2 hours later, the Red Emperor was actually completely suppressed by the large-eared old man. Zhang Kuanga, your strength has already surpassed mine. In that case, the position of the 5 emperors should be handed over to you. The Red Emperor said as he fought, his face still carrying an amiable smile. To him, the position of the 5 emperors had been in his hands for too long. Now, he finally had the chance to step down and relax. Is that all you got? You've disappointed me. The big-eared old man Zhang Kuanga laughed, but he did not want to give way. Instead, he attacked with even more force. An Emperor Dao mystic art blasted out, directly slamming into the Scarlet Emperor who was about to stop, sending him flying. This scene shocked everyone in the surroundings. Almost at this moment, the Saint Emperor, Demon Emperor, Lay Emperor, and Flame Emperor all appeared, directly blocking the large-eared old man Zhang Kuanga, who was about to attack again. The outcome has been decided, the 5 emperors will be replaced. The Saint Emperor, who usually had a calm expression, now had a serious look on his face. As he spoke, he directly blocked Zhang Kuanga. Chapter 942. Seeing the Red Emperor being carried away, the large-eared old man was still angry, but he didn't say anything. After all, the result of the battle has been decided. He will replace the Red Emperor as one of the 5 emperors. Just now, the Red Emperor was hit by his Emperor's thaumaturgy without any warning, so he must have been heavily injured. The grudge from 100 years ago has more or less been avenged. Zhang Kuanga, congratulations on defeating the Red Emperor and becoming one of the 5 emperors. The Saint Emperor's expression was extremely calm as he casually spoke. At the same time, the Red Emperor has done a lot for the entire Shen Wu world during his 300-year reign. The Red Emperor's name will forever be recorded on the Sacred Tower's monument of merit for future generations to pursue. Furthermore, Zhang Kuanga, as one of the 5 emperors, I'm sure you have a lot to say to everyone. Now, allow one of the 5 emperors to say something, and also announce a new title for himself." After saying that, the Saint Emperor retreated to one side, waiting for Zhang Kuanga to speak. The so-called titles are Saint Emperor, Red Emperor, Lay Emperor, and so on. After becoming one of the 5 emperors, their original names aren't important anymore, they'll be represented by their titles from now on. The large-eared old man Zhang Kuanga nodded in satisfaction, walked to the center of the field, and began to speak to all the Imperial Road Secret Realm cultivators around him. "Perhaps some of you remember me. 100 years ago, at this very place, I was defeated and heavily injured by the Red Emperor. But now, I've made a comeback and defeated the Red Emperor, so I will replace him and become one of the 5 emperors. From now on, the name Zhang Kuanga will no longer exist. My name will be Zhang Di." With these words, Zhang Kuanga has officially become one of the 5 emperors in front of the public. But the actual ceremony can only be held after returning to Shen Wu world. The replacement of the 5 emperors is a huge matter for the entire Shen Wu world. Furthermore, the rules are not decided by the 5 emperors, but by forces from beyond the heavens. So, even if the Saint Emperor and the others aren't very satisfied with Zhang Kuanga's character, they can't stop him from becoming one of the 5 emperors. The original 5 emperors were quite friendly with each other, but this new Song of War didn't seem like the type of person to get along well with. Of course, no matter what, the newly arrived combat Thearchs didn't have much power in the 5 Thearchs alliance. Hence, it was easier to suppress them in the beginning. The rest would have to depend on the actions of the 5 Thearchs. When the large-eared old man, Zhang Kuanga, announced that he was the Battle Emperor, the entire crowd erupted in applause and cheers. The change of the 5 emperors meant that a new era was about to begin. This was definitely a good thing for many people, especially those who had a grudge against the Red Emperor. The Water Moon Sword sect, the Ninth Sun sect, the Extreme Martial Empire, and so on, these forces all decided that when they returned to Shen Wu world, they would definitely befriend the new Battle Emperor and be on the same side as him. This way, they would definitely be able to capture Long Yu and the others in one fell swoop. Since the Red Emperor had been defeated and was no longer one of the 5 emperors, the Red Emperor's personal disciples would automatically become ordinary members of the alliance of 5 emperors and would no longer enjoy the treatment of the 5 emperors' personal disciples. As long as he seized the opportunity, he should be able to kill Long Yu, right? Many people thought so. The Divine Martial Emperor meeting was held here. It was more or less over. The 9 Nether Profound Palace had been opened for a month, and the cultivators who deliberately came here to kill the Black Fog lifeforms and improve themselves had achieved their goals. It was time to leave. The exit of the 9 Serenities Profound Palace appeared one day after the 5 emperors had been replaced. The Saint Emperor led everyone out of the enormous palace that held great significance. When the exit of the 9 Nether Profound Palace appeared, 3 figures appeared in the void outside the 9 Nether Profound Palace and appeared on the huge mysterious stone tablet. These 3 figures were the first Heaven Division's Tian Yi Shuang He and Shi Yengu from beyond the heavens. The 3 of them were originally comprehending the power of creation in the void, but at this time, they were suddenly teleported out and were teleported to this huge mysterious stone tablet, which stunned the 3 of them. "We actually came out. Looks like the 9 Nether Profound Palace's 1-month opening time is up." The handsome young man He Ju felt it was a pity. If he had comprehended for a longer time in the final Profound Palace, he might have been able to directly break through the bottleneck and step into the Sovereign's secret realm. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough time. After going out, he still had to spend at least half a year to comprehend, and he should be able to break through the bottleneck of the martial Dao realm within a year. As for his sister He Shui, it was a similar situation. The 2 of them had similar martial Dao talent since they were young, and their comprehension ability was also on par. That was why they were called the Tian-yi Shuang-he and were famous throughout the human race. Little sister, you're only in the Emperor realm now. Did you also comprehend the power of creation in the final profound palace? He Shui looked at Shi Yengu, who was also a little stunned, and asked, It should be the power of creation. But why wasn't Long Yu teleported out with us? Shi Yengu frowned slightly and was quite worried about this. Don't worry, your friend called Long Yu is definitely fine. After all, you signed a life and death contract with him. This contract is still valid until you leave this space. He Shui comforted, if something happened to him, you wouldn't be alive right now. So, don't worry, maybe he encountered some other opportunity? It's hard to say. This place is really mysterious, including the giant mysterious stone tablet under our feet. It also exudes a power that makes my heart palpitate. The handsome young man He Ju frowned slightly, but soon relaxed, and said to Shi Yengu with a smile, Friend, although you're from this small world, if you have the chance to come to the outside world in the future, you can come to the First Division to find us brother and sister. Just say the name of the Tian-yi Shuang-he Ju, and everyone in the First Division will be very respectful to you. What brother and sister? They're clearly brother and sister. The beautiful woman, He Shui, harumphed. Don't listen to this little rascal. I, He Shui, am not his little sister, but his big sister. Alright, you're my big sister, okay? The handsome young man He Ju smiled helplessly and shook his head. Many thanks, seniors. Shi Yengu was a little surprised that the other party would say such words, and she subconsciously thanked them. Although she was the personal disciple of the Death Envoy, it was obvious that the Death Envoy's strength when he was alive couldn't be compared to some of the elders in the First Division. Therefore, the attitude of the Tian-yi Shuang-he Ju was very rare. After all, the two of them had encountered an opportunity to break through to the Sovereign's secret realm because of Long Yu and Shi Yengu, so it was normal for them to have such an attitude. This place is about to close, we'll meet again in the future. Oh right, I have 2 doppelganger puppets here, little girl, take them. If you run into any danger, you can use your own strength to activate one of the doppelganger puppets, and you'll have a doppelganger equivalent to a 5-star emperor. He Shui took out 2 small puppets made of cloth and handed them to Shi Yengu with a smile. Although a 5-star emperor isn't much, but in this miniature world of yours, it can be said to be the strongest existence. As long as you activate one of the puppets, it should be enough to solve any problem you're currently facing. He Shui's confident words weren't nonsense. If a 5-star Emperor Doppelganger appeared in the Shen Wu world, it could indeed sweep through all existences. Many thanks, Senior. Sunset Dance took the 2 small cloth dolls and saw that the 2 dolls were in the form of the twin cranes in the sky. They were exactly the same as the siblings before her. As for whether they were siblings or siblings, Shi Yengu couldn't be bothered to figure it out. There was no point in figuring it out anyway. Alright, it's about time for us to leave. After giving the 2 puppets away, the Tian-yi Shuang-he Ju smiled at Shi Yengu. They didn't think about why Long Yu didn't come with them, because there were too many strange things in this world, and the 2 of them had already seen quite a few of them. The biggest possibility was that Long Yu had encountered even more fortuitous encounters than they did, and encountered even more good things in the final profound palace. But that had nothing to do with the 2 of them. They couldn't just wait here, so they had to leave together with the other people from beyond sky. With a wave of Crane Ju's hand, the Tian-yi Shuang-he Ju disappeared in front of Shi Yengu. Then, the Saint Emperor's group brought a large group of over 1 million Imperial Road secret realm cultivators and directly appeared in the void of space, not too far away from the giant stone tablet. The Divine Battle World's martial cultivators who were still fighting in the First Palace, Second Palace, and Third Palace were all teleported out at the same time. Shi Yengu immediately began to search, hoping to find traces of Long Yu. Although there were over 1 million people present, Shi Yangwu had also cultivated the balanced control secret technique, so it wasn't difficult to find someone familiar among the millions of people. But she was soon disappointed. At this moment, among the millions of people who were teleported out, there was no sign of Long Yu at all. Instead, many other people from the Heavenly Mandate Manor appeared, and all of them had greatly improved during this trip. Their martial arts realms had all made significant breakthroughs, and the overall strength of the entire Heavenly Mandate Manor had soared. Shi Yangwu was happy for them, but another shadow was buried in her heart. Where on earth was Long Yu now? Just as He Shui said, she was fine now, so she could be sure that Long Yu's life wasn't in danger. But if Long Yu didn't appear now, he most likely wouldn't be able to leave the territory of the Nine Nether Profound Palace. Big brother Long Yu, are you still in the final Profound Palace? Why weren't you teleported out with us? You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.